Well, a very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another Flight Deck to Sim live stream today. It's the 25th of August 2022, 4 minutes past 3 in the afternoon. We're back in Microsoft Flight Simulator. And for the first ever time, we are on a live stream flying a 737-800, which is at the ZIBO mod. I mean, we have flown the level up one a few times, but this is the first on this sim. It's probably the most anticipated 737-800 ever. I've been wanting to stream this as soon as PMDG announced to be making this aircraft for the sim. We've flown the 600, we've flown the 700, love them very much. I've had the 800 since this morning. I've done some test flying already. I've done a test sector already. I'm going to keep my mouth shut and tell you what I think about it throughout the entire stream. Overall, very, very impressed. It's going to be great fun today. We're in Leeds Bradford. This is the Orbeck scenery in the United Kingdom. We're going to be flying over to Newquay. Offline today, guys, because I want to do some general handling, show you some things which are like the 737, things that are a little bit different from the 737. We're going to be doing all sorts today, manual handling, steep turns, exercises that we do during the type rating. We're going to do a touch and go, we're going to do a visual circuit, and then we're going to do a return sector, an ILS approach, an NDB approach, really stress testing this aircraft and seeing how it is just like the real thing, or how much similar, how different it is indeed. Yeah, very exciting indeed. Hello, who have we got here in chat then today? Peter says stall, maybe a stall, we'll see. Piano Learner's here. Stephen Jenkinson says afternoon everyone, just back from holiday to Kos. Great flight on the 737 back home, that's what we're in today. East Coast Canadians here, Julia Carver. I am Feel says hello, Flight Sim, hello Aviation Mike as well. Gary C, thank you very much for the 20 months as a membership as well. An iconic day in the history of this channel, says Craig. Well, let's say it is then, yes. But anyway, let's zoom on in. And again, I do apologise for not being on VATSIM today. The plan is I'll do a sector very soon in this aircraft. Indie Builds have actually sent me a copy of their IB for scenery and a copy to give away as well, which I need to do. It should be great to do it in this aircraft. But here we are. We're just in the default aircraft, default livery, and nothing else. Just Microsoft Flight Simulator. The only other plugin I have is the better pushback one there. As I said, completely cold and dark. We're going to do the setup as I would do at my operator's SOPs. I'll try and point out any differences from the real aircraft. But overall, guys, as I said already, it's an awesome representation of the 737-800. Hello DD, 12 months as a member. Hopefully no bird strikes or ATRs on final today. So glad to get 800 for Microsoft Flight Simulator. Mr. Zebo, but can't go back to explain. Thanks for the stream. You're most welcome, Dealy. Yes, I've had an eventful few days at work. Guys, I've had a bird strike for a flock of pigeons, which thankfully didn't do any damage. Also did a go around as well, thanks to an ATR very close ahead of me. I was telling the members a little bit about it over the last few days there. Mr. Josh Washi says, you're a professional. I try to be as professional as possible. Keep my language clean. Hello, Anthony. It won't be a full test until we buzz a few trees going into Innsbruck. Yes, every time I have gone into Innsbruck, I have seemed to have caught some conifers in my left-hand wing as we go downwind. East Coast Canadian, gorgeous livery. Yeah, the PMDG stock livery, they've done a great job making it look really, really nice. I think it looks a bit like the Boeing house livery, the modern one there. Yankee Fox, 6 months as a member. Thank you very much. Flight Deck Sim stream on my day off and flying down to my neck of the woods too. Perfect. Have a great flight. Thank you very much, Yankee Fox. Hope you're doing very well there. Extrax, just a nav question or something question. It makes no sense to own both if you don't play Microsoft Flight Sim 24/7, right? Well, it is what it is. I'm not sure what you're saying there, but you can talk. Yes, Mr. Joshua, I do talk fast, especially during the intro, because I'm trying to say so many things, but I'll try and slow down the pace during the setup here. But yeah, it'll be quite a busy stream, this one, because you guys have been wanting to see this one for quite some time. As I mentioned, we're going to do the full setup as per my operator's SOPs. I'm just going to load the fuel and passengers quickly, as we are offline today, but it'll give you a bit of an impression as to how this thing compares to the real aircraft. We already know the exterior model is really, really nice. We did a walk around when the 600 came out. I might do a detailed tutorial one day on the exterior walk around, but there's already so many available on YouTube. Anyway, let's get into the cockpit. We'll zoom on into the air bridge and try my absolute best to smoothly transition into the cockpit, which is not so easy. Ah, there we are. And I can do this to jump straight back in, I think. Oh, no, why are my buttons not working? Bear with me, because it's a while since I've used Microsoft Flight Simulator. There we go, here we are in the cockpit. So, differences then to the 600 and 700, the PMDG aircraft you guys have probably already been seeing myself stream and others, it's a little bit longer than the others. We have at my operator an all single class config of 189 seats, and the air conditioning system, as opposed to the 600 and 700, has an additional recirculation fan going straight to the bleed system's a little bit different how it works as well. So yeah, there's a trim air system too. Otherwise, there isn't much difference. It rotates, handles, flies similar to the 600 and 700. A lot of people were actually commenting on my last video that the 700 and 600 doesn't have much of a deadband. It does have the 600 I don't know, it hasn't flown. The 700 I have flown. It doesn't have such a pronounced deadband, certainly less so than the 800, but it does have one. But this one has much more of a deadband, and PMDG have done something to sort of model how that feels. In reality, it requires a bit more back pressure, but at least there's some sort of deadband there anyway. How's the FPS and performance on the PMDG 737, says Samuel? Pretty good, if I have to be honest. I have Fly Live open in the background, and I'm hitting 60 FPS, and my Microsoft Flight Sim settings are all on. I think it's high end. That's the setting I have, not the highest, but for me, high end looks just as good. Right, anyway, let's get the show on the road. So first things first, get the battery on. We'll put the GPU on the bus. We can pop on the electric hydraulic pumps, and then we'll check the landing gear lever is down. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 green lights, and we check all the aircraft documentation. Working our way down here, we'll check the squibs. We've got 3 green lights and 3 green lights. Let's do the fault and fire test. So go over to fault. Fault APU detector in off, and we've got overheat detector and master caution up there as well. Let's do the fire test. Bell, wheel well, overheat, warning lights, overheat, and 2 lights here as well. That's looking good. So far, so good. On 1080p, yes, Danny, I use 1080 and not 4K. Vuelos says, hello, fellas, today is the day. 737, it sure is, buddy. Glad you're in the stream here. Emergency exit lights are armed already. We'll put the fasten seatbelt sign on. We are using sim brief operational flight plans today. I've also done the performance too, so you can see how it compares to the real aircraft. Seems to match perfectly, which is pretty cool. So here is our operational flight plan for the first sector. Alpaca 01 is our call sign. We'll be cruising at flight level 240 today. We're going to take standard block fuel. The weather's quite nice over the UK. It's a little bit of drizzle and rain around, but nothing that's going to cause any issues delay-wise or performance-wise. And the weather in Newquay is very nice as well. Winds from the northwest, 10k, few clouds at 2,500 feet. So we're going to take standard fuel today. We're going to burn a little bit more than trip fuel because we're going to be messing around doing general handling and doing a touch and go as well. But we could commit using our reserve fuel. As we're offline today, we shouldn't have too much disruption. So we'll take 5.2 tons of fuel, and we can compare the real burn in the PMDG to the flight plan as we progress. Let's go here to FS actions. I'm going to do it quickly today. So fuel 5.2. You kind of, you course use the way with the fuel truck and the air bridge to board them in real time, but we're just going to do a high-speed load today. Now we're going to take 180 passengers. For some reason I only have the option for 184, whereas the single class config, which I have selected, is 189 for the 7.3. So that's 180, and it's already loaded the fuel and the payload in there straight away. Jonathan Wiltshire, thanks for your 22 months as a member. Ooh, finally a stream I can make. Looking forward to Newquay. Very cool. I've never flown to Newquay in real life, so I'll have to see how we get on. I think it's used by a lot of airlines for base training anyway. I think EasyJet use it. So yeah, it'll be quite nice to go straight into the touch and go. Bear with me when I do my touch and go and visual circuit in a desktop simulator. It's not easy. I had to go earlier and it was a little bit difficult. We'll see how we get on today. It's always for your amusement. Anyway, fuel's on board. Passengers are on board as well. We'll test the attend button. Working our way down here, we see the flaps are up, and that matches the indicated position. And we can select legs there for now. We can go here to FMC2. Nav data's out of date, so I think Jefferson need to add that to the database. It's active up to May of this year, so it's about 3 months out of date, but it's fine for our flights today. Offline, stab trim cart switches are normal, and we could do the cargo fire test. Forward aft discharge, 2 green lights, the bell and the fire warning light would have been checked. Weather radar's inoperative. Actually, we could dispatch today as long as we're in daytime VMC. Transponder should be on standby. We've got 2000 set. Rudder and aileron trim is 3 and 0. Check the gear extension door, nice and grubby as it would be in real life as well. Circuit breakers are all in here. Let's check the Mach airspeed warning test. It's all good. Flight recorder's been tested. Need to wait a little bit longer before we can perform the stall warning test. IRS to nav. We've got the alignment set to realistic, so it should take about 7-8 minutes at this latitude. Circuit breakers are in. We'll then check the safety equipment, make sure everything is all good. Unfortunately, still no cabin, still no EFB. I believe PMDG did say that on release of the 800 there'd be an EFB, but it's not here. I don't know if there's settings for me to turn it on, but I'm pretty sure they have added those. Someone showed me sun visors. These are the sun visors we have at our operator, and it's quite nice that they've added that. The Phoenix had that as well, but yeah, it's pretty cool how you can slide that across and see the lighting through there. It looks exactly the same there. Navigraph update arrived about an hour ago here. Perfect. Well, next time when I fly online, I'll make sure I have the latest database installed. Right, so we've done the safety inspection checklist. We can now get some weather for Leeds. We're offline, but the wind is 300 at 9, so it'll be runway 32 for departure. Few clouds at 2,800 feet. Temperature is 18 degrees, which is set here, and the QNH is 1013. So we'll press B to quickly set the QNH, which is 1018. Change that to inches as well. Now, I have completed the performance on the Real OPT calculator. Let me just bring that up for you. So you can see here some information. I put the latest weather conditions in here. I've had to fiddle with this, but for some reason I can't select 22K in the PMDG 737. I've only got the options of 24 or 26, so I've had to select 24K. We'll look at this closer later. I just wanted to get the MFRA here, which is 1880. This is the height at which we accelerate in the event of an engine failure. So we'll now set MFRA of 1880. That isn't available publicly. That's the actual OPT app. I'm just taking a screenshot off using Leeds as an option. So 1880 is now set for the MFRA. First thing that's a little bit different I've noticed, because I was actually wondering this with the PMDG. When you select the traffic button, you get the white rings appear, and then when you deselect it, the white rings disappear. I'm being very nitpicky here. In the real aircraft, the white rings, on our aircraft at least, are permanent. Selecting traffic doesn't get rid of the white rings. All it changes is TFC with the display, and then whether you can see traffic or not on the display. So yeah, refund. That was just a small little thing I noticed. I was curious at work, because I remember flying the 600 and 700 seeing the rings disappear. I said I've never seen the rings disappear before. Anyway, let's now jump into the FMC to load up the operational flight plan. So here is sector number 1. We're going to go to POS init. We are in Leeds Bradford, which is Echo Golf November Mike. We'll select GPS left, and we'll put the routing in. We're going to Newquay Echo Golf Hotel Kilo. We are the Alpaca 01. That's our call sign today. Let me have a little look in chat here whilst I crack on. Thanks for subscribing there. Flying with Jay, welcome on board. Dealey, sorry I missed it. Anyone in chat, what is the performance tool, please? I did just explain that one. How close is Virtual Performance Tool Pro performance calculations? I have heard of this infra, and I think someone from the dev team invited me to try it out, which I will do at some point. I've heard it's pretty good. Hello, Air Ataman, I hope you're doing well. Beta for the EFB is supposed to be released mid-late September. Okay, so next month, though. We're definitely trying that. Jack's just walked in, my Labrador, who's with me for a few days, and he's probably wondering who on earth I'm talking to. Dealey, one mirror thing I wish PMDG would do is make their flight deck a bit more lived in. Very, very minor thing, but love the used look. FSC buttons and glare shield worn were touched frequently. Yes, this is straight out from the factory, this NG, but yeah, I mean, it looks very good. The interior models of all the high quality add-ons I've used for Microsoft Flight Simulator, I think have been exceptional. Excellent, let's crack on there. Alpaca 1, what did you do wrong to get that call sign? I know, Andy. I've actually assigned that call sign to anyone on a group flight for a while. Right, let's pop in this routing. Let's bring up the operational flight plan again. So we'll be departing off runway 32. It's a Nelsa 3 Whiskey. From Nelsa, direct to Barton. And we'll select the first waypoint there. It's then going to be the Papa 17 airway to Knockin. And from Knockin, November 862 to Dobem. There is Dobem, Lima 180 to, yes, Dicas. This is the Americans' favourite waypoint. You always hear them say, direct to where? Whenever I fly around that bit of airspace. November 864, oh child, direct to Exmoor. And there's no arrivals into Newquay. We're going to have a crack later at building an arc manually, which I did earlier, and it actually worked really, really well. The PMDG 737 is quite functional. So we're going to go departure arrivals. It'll be a straight in off ILS 30 into the visual circuit. So we'll select that. It's neither of these transitions. They are the teardrop procedural approaches. So we'll activate that, we can execute it, and we'll go to init ref. No, we won't go to performance. Right, 0 fuel weights coming in, 57.8 reserves for our alternate, which is Cardiff, 2.3 tons has been selected, cost index 30. We're cruising at flight level 240 for this sector. So we're going to select that here. The top of climb wind is 181 at 35. There we go, and we'll put the average wind in, which is 243 at 23. Interesting. Can't put that in.
Minimums. Approaching
Center
minimums.
fix. Execute. So it doesn't seem to be able to give me legs route data. Why? There should be prompts here to be able to select ETA, your average wind. It is quite a short sector. It should have generated a top of climb and top of descent point, and that gives you the ability to type some winds in. Yeah, I noticed earlier it hasn't drawn the SID quite correctly either, and I did get an LNAV discontinuity issue, so we'll have a look on that. No, it doesn't seem to have generated a top of climb or top of descent point. Something it did earlier. You don't need the IRS aligned or anything like that. All pilots are just big children at heart, aren't they? Absolutely, James French. We're all big children, really. Thank you very much for your continued support, buddy. Where did I get to? Perf. Okay, transition altitude, unfortunately, only defaults to whatever you set it in the settings to, but it's in Leeds, what is it? It's 5,000 feet. I'll get rid of the operational flight plan here as well. Right, so very good here by PMDG. I saw this earlier. Yeah, where's 22k as an option? I don't know why that's missing. There should be 26, 24, 22. This is the you can have an option on the CFM to have an additional £1,000 of thrust for 27k. We don't have this, but there should be 22k here. I have no idea where it's gone. Because the performance gave me 22k, so because it's not there, I just selected manually 24k. Oops, I just realised you can't see the performance here. So yeah, I selected manually 24k. And if I go 24k with the assumed temperature of 36 degrees, you can see 92.4, 93.3. This is very accurate. The APU bleed is off at the moment, so when I put the APU bleed on, this will decrease to 92.5, which will be within 0.1% of the N1 here. So they're actually using Real Boeing data here, because I had to play with it, and it seemed to match lots of the FMC thrust settings and assumed temperatures, minus 22k, because I can't select it for some reason. It all matched the real OPT, so they're definitely using correct data, which is pretty cool to see. Let's have a look at this, the V speeds. So we've got flap 5, CG is in 5.93, speeds are 36, 37, 44, so we can't actually select that. If they differ by more than 1 knot, you have to select OPT speeds. So 134, 137, 144 all matches. We could set 144 on the MCP. And I still personally believe the trim is far too slow in the PMDG. We have 4 units here. We're going to set 6 now, and just looking at the speed, firstly the wheel's going slowly. That's not an animation thing, but also the speed at which it's setting the trim is very slow. It's twice the speed with flaps extended in the real aircraft, but it does go quicker than this with flaps up. It does go quicker with this with flaps up. So there we go. Oh, it's in the options, Captain. I see the 22k on my PMDG 738 not sure. So yeah, it could be an option in the FMC. It may depend on the livery used. Maybe you fiddled with the aircraft options accidentally. Could be, could be. 22k, I guess you see the option on the FMC. 22k missing might be due to having enabled the FMC. I'll have a look. I'll have a look at that at a later time, but I couldn't see any options there. Let's see if I can select any speeds yet in the FMC. It's still not happy with the turn there. Let's just go to legs, map, route data. There we are. So I can now select my average wind. It's generated at top of climb point. So average wind is 243 at 23. 243 at speed. There we go. So executed, and that should have updated all of them. Perfect. That's looking lovely. So speeds are all set, performance is done, trim is set as well. Onto the overhead panel, we'll check the flight control. Spoiler guards are down, no lights, yaw damper can come on. Nav transfer and display switches are normal auto. Fuel, we'll check the crossfeed valve. Bright, dim, bright, and off. No fuel in the centre tank, so just the 4 main pumps on. AC/DC metering panel is set. IGG guards are down with the drive lights on. That's normal. We'll start the APU at this stage as well. And panel lighting, I'm happy with the brightness at the moment. Window heat we can pop on. Probe heat off at this stage. Anti-ice off. Electric hydraulic pumps are on. All the doors are currently closed. Voice recorder we can pop on. PAX auto. Isolation valve, sorry, wants to be open. We're cruising at 24,000 feet. The elevation in Newquay is 400 feet, so we can set that there to 400. Before the stream I had the MCP all set up ready just to save a little bit of time, so we've got the runway heading and track set. Cleared level is going to be 70. We'll imagine we've got our clearance. Flight directors are on, order brake to RTO, reset the fuel flow. We'll set legs for Jim. And takeoff page for myself, trim set, working our way down here on the overhead panel, all is looking good. So doing the setup in this aircraft, I do exactly as I do in real life, and it is identical. There's no difference really. The only thing I've noticed is, on this SID, it was the same earlier, is there's a little bit of a issue here with drawing, and it did follow this, and then it disconnected LNAV on my departure, so we'll just have to keep an eye on that. Could be a Navigraph database issue. The only thing I need to do is put 220 knots here. You see we have a bypass. The aircraft is basically struggling to make that turn. Welcome. That might actually fix that little issue there. So what we'll do 220 until the Lima point. Welcome. Execute. Yeah, it's still struggling to draw that circle, but it just helps draw tighter turns. Right, let's have a look here in chat. Thanks for subscribing. Airborne Lawyer, oh my goodness me, and Melty, welcome aboard guys. Peter says Jim's legs. Oh, I haven't even showed you yoke cam today. Yoke cam is all enabled. I'm wearing shorts again. There's my knee. Jack is currently asleep below me. I don't really fancy moving the yoke cam because you might see my ugly mug. Joshua, PMDG setup, equipment, page 2, double D rate. Double D rate? I thought that was something else. PMDG setup, equipment, aircraft, equipment, page 2, double D rate, yes. Yay! Thank you. That must be. I thought double D rate wasn't to do with something else, but yeah, okay. I thought double D rate was to do with yellow bugs appearing on the M1 gauge or something like that. But we do have the option now. Thank you very much for that one. What is the average speed you would fly between 10,000 and 25,000 feet, said Bird Spotter. So typically at 10,000 feet would accelerate from 250 knots to our econ climb speed is about 280 knots. And we'd maintain that fixed indicated airspeed during the climb, which would increase our Mach number. And eventually we'll get to a point which is our econ Mach climb speed or cruise speed, and the aircraft would keep climbing at that speed there. So the aircraft basically continuously accelerates as it climbs and decelerates as it slows down because we're maintaining a fixed speed, and the air gets less dense as we climb, thicker as we descend, and because we're maintaining a fixed speed, the true airspeed will increase or decrease, whereas the indicated airspeed stays the same. Well, the trusty 738 has finally touched down, It has Coda 101, I hope you're doing well, buddy, nice to see you here. Mark Burgess too. Excellent, thanks for the 22k options there. Captain James, when do you use flight level change? So typically in climb we only use VNAV or vertical speed. In descent, level change is quite useful when you want to get down quickly. I I will mention it now, and you'll see it when I'm testing it here. In my opinion, the PMDG 737-800 is a little slippy. It's a little bit too slippy. There's exercises we do at the type rating to demonstrate the drag of the aircraft at different speeds, and I'm going to do it after takeoff to show you the exercises we do during the type rating. And it's just the things I've noticed that rates of descent in level change are half of what they should be. Maybe it was the same in the 600-700, I didn't just notice, but I was having a play of it today and I thought, oh, it's really struggling to slow down. The 800 is very slippy, not as slippy as the PMDG 737 though. I'd say it's, you know, 40-50% as slippy as the real thing, but I'll demonstrate all this later when we do some general handling on the way to Newquay. Right, so APU should be up and running now, so we'll get that on the bus. We'll set the parking brake, which is off by default, so hold down the brakes. They've modelled that to be realistic. Parking brake is set, and we can now release the chocks. So we're going to go to FS Actions, it's ground services, remove the chocks, which gets rid of all the ground equipment. We'll get rid of the jetway as well, so we'll pop that in here, and we'll get better pushback. Oh, I keep calling better pushback, it's the Microsoft Flight Sim equivalent. Pre-plan. I'm going to be pushing back to face east, so we'll do something like this and this. The external sounds are excellent.
Cockpit to ground.
This is ground. Stand by.
So we're on stand 8, I believe, or yeah, stand 8. We're going to push back facing east on Alpha. We're going to taxi Alpha right on Delta. We're then going to taxi to hold point Delta 1. We're going to make a left turn, backtrack runway 32 to the hold point, full length departure for runway 32. The SID is a Nelsa 3 Whiskey. It's all backed up, straight outbound till 2.1 DME India Lima Foxtrot.
Minimums.
We'll have the other ident, so hopefully that will change. And then it's going to be a left turn inbound to Pole Hill. And before we get to Pole Hill, 11 miles.
The bypass pin is installed. All doors and hatches closed, and all ground equipment is removed.
Right turn to Nelsa,
Brakes are set.
climbing to 7-0. So that's what we're going to do. But I'm going to hand fly that and do some general handling as well. Kieran, thanks for your 32 months as a member. Hope you're doing well, buddy. Nice to see you here. And
You're cleared for start and push.
hope you're staying out of trouble.
Okay, cleared for push start. Please release parking brake.
Right, so packs off. APU bleeds on, anti-collision light is on, parking brake we can now release. And transmodder
Parking
out
brakes
off.
are released.
On our way.
Commencing pushback. You can start
Master
the
caution,
engine.
air conditioning, and that will
You
be
will
for the
start in
dual
sequence.
bleed. Because we have the engine and APU bleed on. That is completely normal. So far, 10 out of 10. My toolbar pushback usually doesn't even talk to me. I think you have to turn it on the settings, J Bay. So I do have the new replay recorder. I'm not going to do it on the first sector because I've not tested it with multiple sectors. I will use the replay tool though for the approach back here into Leeds on the return sector. No, 0 out of 10, no angry tug driver. Right, starting engine number 2. I'll just turn the music off for a sec so you can hear the engine start, which is very good. Ooh, that didn't sound good, it sounded like we landed. Excellent.
Welcome.
Packpack has so many bugs. It has bugs. I know there's been issues reported with people having
Well.
crashed their desktops, isn't there? But I've had no problems. Thanks for subscribing. A Merrick, A Sting, and Dinos172. Rory Heap, nice to see you here, buddy. Looking forward to hearing a direct comparison between the two 738s and the two simulators. Yes, that's what I will be giving you. Love that bass. You get in the PMDG, you got a lovely bass coming from the engines. The volume of the engines from the flight deck's good as well.
Please set your parking brake.
There we go.
Parking brake set.
Parking brake set. Lowering aircraft.
Starter cut out. Monitoring
Ground.
engine number
You may
2.
disconnect.
2, 4,
Okay, sir. Clear to
6,
disconnect.
3, 2
Pin
stable.
has been
Engine
removed.
start
See you at the side.
is
Have a good flight.
it's identical to the
Hold
real
in
thing.
position
Very
waiting for the
good.
visual. Thank you
Speed,
and
the
goodbye.
time, everything. Very, very nice. There's N2. All pressure, N1. Try and check the spar valve, goes from dim to bright and off. Excellent. Is the FPS different from the 700 and 800? Not that I notice. I find the 600, 700 and 800 though, in the sim, they all feel exactly the same. I can't really tell much difference between them all. I've flown the 700, and it's a little bit sportier than the 800, especially during takeoff. You can feel about it. It's a little bit easier to land as well, but they are very similar. But I've flown all three and they feel very similar. Right, anyway, starter cutouts. Monitoring 1, 2, 4, 6, 3, and 1 and 2 are stable. And I think he's gone away. Look, he's left us on our own. Imagine he's shown us the bypass pin. Let's do the before taxi flow. So, generators on, APU off, start switches continuous, propheat on, anti-ice is not required, air conditioning packs auto, isolation valve auto, APU bleed is off, and that is all set. Flaps to 5. We'll now check the flight controls. Let me bring up yoke cam. So full forward and full back and left and right. Here comes the rudders, full right and full left. Looking good. Recall. We'd then blank the lower DU and then we'd read and complete the before taxi checklist. So everything is all configured and ready to go. Let's request taxi to runway 32. Turn off, taxi light is on. Imagine we've got our clearance. As we briefed earlier, we're going to taxi straight out, Alpha, right on to Delta, hold short Delta 1, and we'll talk about the departure and what we're going to be doing exercise-wise. So, parking brake is set, we'll do the config check, and this spools up, like with the 600, 700, a little bit too quickly. From 0 to 20%, oh sorry, from 0 to, sorry, start again, from 20 to 40%, right at the lower ends of the N1 increase, the acceleration from 20 to 40% in the real aircraft takes about 6-7 seconds. In the PMDG it's about 1.5, so it is a little bit too quick. The thrust responsiveness though above 40% is absolutely fine. There we are. First time moving in the PMDG 737-800. The exterior model is stunning, really nice. So taxiing, like all aircraft in Microsoft Flight Simulator, is a little bit, you know, all or nothing. It's fine. The inertia of the PMDG 738 though is very good, so if I go idle now, it seems to roll quite nicely. There's a little bit of gradient. There's quite a lot of gradient in Leeds. This runway's a bit like a ski ramp, but on flat ground it seems to have the right amount of inertia, which is quite nice. Has anyone tested with GSX? That's the new ground thing, which someone told me, or they've been saying in Discord, has broken a lot of people's Microsoft Flight Simulators, so I might hold off on getting that, but it does seem to increase the immersion a lot. I know they've been unprepared for some time. Microsoft Flight Sim Taxi, all or nothing, coming to Amazon Prime soon. It's just very jerky. Does feel nice in X-Plane. You know, I'm a big fan of both sims, but yeah, it does feel a little jerky. Do you think taxiing the fly-by-wire is all the same as the PMDG? Every jet aircraft I've flown is exactly the same. Nox Gaming is sort of left, you let go and it just stops. It's like you choose it and then it just stops. So every aircraft that's this size. I think again that's just a limitation in the sim. Sounds on this though, superb. Anyway, approaching the hold point, guys. So what we're going to do, we're going to follow the SID as per SOPs at my operator. We're going to bug up, retract the flaps. We're going to climb to flight level 70. I'm going to hand fly for departure, level off at 70, and then we're going to turn off the flight directors and do some general handling. I'm going to do some exercises which sort of are done on the first full flight sim during the type rating. I spent 2 years as an SFI teaching these sort of things, and show you what is similar to the real aircraft and also what it's lacking. It's not lacking very much, it's very good, but there's some, mainly around drag and and flight control inputs at different speeds, which again, it's more a limitation than sim. I'm being hypercritical here. It's so good with regards to everything else. It's not going to be an issue for the average flight sim user. I'm just comparing it to the real thing, because I know PMDG do stress it is as close to the real thing as it possibly is, and I have to agree with them on most aspects. There's just certain differences I'd like to point out. Awesome, 750 people watching. Thank you very much for tuning in. I hope you're glad you're here, and I hope you're enjoying the stream. If you do like the video, it would certainly be appreciated. And helps a lot for the channel. As I said, we're going to do some nice general handling, and I'm going to give you my feedback on this aircraft as we fly to Newquay and go from there. We want you to be hypercritical. I will be, Peter. It is excellent, though. It is excellent. Right, we'll imagine we've been cleared to line up and wait backtrack as well. I haven't just entered an active runway willy-nilly. At that point, we put this all on and put the auto throttle on, LNAV, transponder to TARA. Unfortunately, no functioning weather radar, but we'll turn the weather radar on anyway. And now we'll complete the before takeoff checklist. So config, we checked. Flaps, we have 5 with the green light. Stab trim is 6 or 5 point units set. The takeoff briefing, look on the overhead panel. The packs are auto. The bleeds are on. The V-speeds are set for departure. 34, 37, 144, set on the MCP. The departure is the Nelsa 3 Whiskey. We'll be climbing straight ahead to 2.1 DME off the ILS. We'll then be making a left turn 272 to intercept the 052 radial inbound to Pole Hill, climbing to flight level 70. It's NADP2, so we'll accelerate at 1600 feet here, which is 1000 feet AGL. And any problems, there's actually, in reality here, something called a special engine out SID. You wouldn't want to climb straight ahead. What we do, we climb straight ahead out to about 6 or 7 miles off the top of my head, and then we make a right turn back to the airfield to hold at the beacon. So that's if we have any problems. Runway looks a little bit washed out, but that's more Microsoft Flight Sim lighting. We'll line up here, and then we'll do the checks below the line. But yeah, actually doing turns like this, the inertia is quite nice in the aircraft. Right, so we'll just set the parking brake for a second. So below the line, MCP is set, transponder TARA, strobe lights are on, landing lights are on. We've been cleared for takeoff. Before takeoff checklist is complete, so we're going to hand fly this departure. As per my operator's SOPs, I'll spot or point out any differences between this and the real aircraft, and we'll level off at 70. So I hope you enjoy this. I'll pop on yoke cam, make sure the parking brake is released, and we'll set the timer, and we'll go to 40%. Looking good. Engines all stabilised. Set takeoff thrust. Oops. I've lost my auto throttle. I'll just pop that back on. There we are. Oh, it's arm. Okay, that's probably it because I had a slight difference between my thrust levers. Anyway, takeoff thrust set indications normal. It's stuck in arm now. It should go to throttle hold. That could be more the fact it disconnected.
V1, rotate.
Hand off the thrust levers. Rotate. Feels good. Definitely a dead band there. So now I have to increase the back pressure. I got stuck in the dead band on purpose. They've definitely modelled something here in comparison to the 600 or 700. Just going to take a bit of thrust off here. And no more than 20 degrees. There's LNAV. They still haven't got rid of this audio speed trim system issue, so it just continuously trims and trims and trims without making any trim inputs. So that's the same with every variant they've got, the 600 and 700. Anyway, you can bug up now, a little bit late bugging up. There's N1 engaging. So as we bug up, it should lower the nose. The flight director, which is doing, still trimming. I think if you trim like I've just done there, it shuts it up. Flaps 1. Pitch and power very good. We're at 8 to 10 degrees to accelerate. Flaps up. Again, there's the speed trim system. Doesn't seem to make any... It doesn't say the same again. Look, you can hear it trim, 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 but not doing anything. Anyway, follow the flight directors. There's the upspeed. And the flight director will now pitch up to command the upspeed. Otherwise, handling very nice. So flaps are up, no lights. VNAV, it's going to command 220 knots for that turn. Set standard. Passing 37 flight level 70. We'll do the after takeoff checklist as soon as we're inbound to Delta 052 Lima. Yeah, very nice. It's accelerating a little bit high there. The flight director should be commanding 220 knots here. I'm following the flight director precisely, but it's accelerating and accelerating while still commanding 220 knots. So the flight director is a little slow to react there. Should be doing 220. Flight director should be giving me a command to fly 220, but instead it's doing 245. So that's a little inaccurate. I'm not sure why it's doing that. We'll select vertical speed now. 2,000 feet. And now it's gone to MCP speed, so the autothrottle is going to bring the thrust all the way back to maintain 220. And it's gone to autoquire, and what autoquire will do, it'll look at your closure rate to your cleared level, and it'll do a nice smooth level off by slowly lowering the flight director. It's based off your rate of climb.
Welcome.
Thanks for subscribing, guys. Just level off at 7-0. So yeah, otherwise the takeoff was really good. It did that on the test sector as well. It should be commanding 220. It went up to 245. I was following the flight director command bars very accurately. In reality, they'd be setting a pitch attitude to precisely maintain 220 knots. There's out hold. And the autothrottle is nicely maintaining 220 knots. We'll make a right turn to intercept that radial inbound to Pole Hill. And I will get the autopilot in for a second. And then we'll do the after takeoff checklist. But otherwise it's nice. I'm having to increase back pressure during the turn. That's as per the real aircraft. It's all nicely trimmed out here. And then what I can do is get it in trim during the turn, which it shouldn't do, but then as I level off it should want to climb. Or when I level off, bank, roll the wings level. So yeah, in reality the aircraft wants to pitch up. If you're in trim during the turn and you roll wings level, the aircraft wants to pitch up. And again, it's the autopilot is just struggling. Or the flight directors look at... I'm following the flight directors quite accurately, and it does have a habit of just not commanding the altitude, especially when configured. We're going to test that later when we come back to Leeds. Right, anyway, let's do the after takeoff checklist. Gears off, auto brakes off, start switches can come off, taxi light off, air conditioning and pressurization, off scheduled descent. Oh, we did get a little bit below 7-0, so what I'm going to do, because we're going to do some flight exercises, I'll set this to 7-0. And standard set now, 7-0, 220 knots after takeoff check is complete. So what we're going to do, I'm going to route direct to Newquay, so we can do a nice straight line for 56 miles. Once we're inbound to Newquay, we're going to do some exercises which are done during the type rating to sort of demonstrate the drag model, what the 737 feels like with regards to acceleration and drag. But yeah, you can see, look, during the turn, 600, 700, the previous models of the PMDG, look at this. It shouldn't do this. I'm being very critical, but I need to be. It does this in the turn. It needs to maintain altitude. We've lost about 120 feet there. It's a PMDG thing. I had the issue with the version and prepared. Same with the NGX and the Microsoft Flight Sim versions. It just can't maintain altitude at slower speeds when configured. Is it worth it? So I'm being hypercritical. I think if you want to enjoy a 737 in Microsoft Flight Simulator, yes, it's absolutely worth it. It's an absolutely investment you need to make if you want to enjoy the 737. I'm just being critical as comparing it to the real aircraft there. Excellent. We'll keep the questions coming in. I'll try to answer as many as possible. We're going to do some general handling now anyway. So we're inbound to Newquay flight level 70, and this is done during the type rating. We'll disconnect the autothrottle here, and we're going to bug 340 knots, which is VMO. There we are, and you'll get the flashing B. Trying to think if I do that now. Anyway, we're going to disconnect the autopilot and take off the flight directors. So you can see here right now, flight level 70 to maintain this level is about 5 degrees, 60%. It's about right. Pitch and power in this aircraft is excellent. We're going to set full climb power, and what I'm going to do is just maintain 70. Now, just as a demonstration, it's got quite good thrust pitch couple. See the nose coming up? That's as per the real aircraft, so they definitely have modelled a thrust pitch couple, and that felt about right. And we're going to let the aircraft accelerate up to 340 knots. Now, this is done during the type rating, so the cadets can have a feel of as you accelerate, the need to trim nose down. The flight controls have artificial inputs in to sort of replicate the speed you're doing as well. The controls become far more effective at higher speed, but it's all sort of goes through the elevator field computer. And we're accelerating to 340, and we're going to maintain a speed just 10 knots below that. And look, as we accelerate to maintain 70, I'm going to continuously trim nose down and pitch nose down. And then once we're up to about VMO here, the attitude to maintain 70 is around 1 or 2 degrees, as opposed to around 250 knots, just about 3 degrees, and about the upspeed, just about 5-6 degrees. So I'm not doing a very good job here. I'm having to trim a lot more than I would need to. As I said, the trim in this aeroplane is not effective. It needs to be twice as effective as to be as close to the thing as the real thing. So here we are. Official JAL uniform, shorts and white t-shirt. I could flick a bird here, but there's far too many people watching. Right, anyway, here we are. What we're going to do is an exercise which demonstrates the drag, and this is where the PMDG, I think, needs a little bit of work. So what we're going to do is accelerate to VMO, maintain 70. We're going to let the aircraft exceed VMO until we get the clacker. As soon as we hear the clacker, we'll start the timer. There's the timer. Close the thrust levers. And what we're going to do is just maintain 70 and see how long this takes. So, and we're going to wait until we get to the upspeed. Now, during the type rating, I can't find my notes. I think it takes about 1 minute 30, 1 minute 40 to get to the upspeed. In the PMDG, it's about 35-40 seconds longer. It's just too slippy at the moment, especially at these high speeds here. There's a lot of parasitic drag. Yes, the 800 and NG is a slippy aeroplane, but it should be slowing down a little bit quicker to 250. How would I describe it? It's like an eel covered in, I don't know, olive oil going down a water slide. That's how I describe it. But yeah, we've been from 1 minute now. We've only lost about 50 knots or so, and it definitely has a parasitic drag model. As you slow down, the rate of deceleration slows down, which is accurate, but it is slowing down, in my opinion, too slowly. I think in reality now we'd be doing 240, 230. Especially when you're level. We're up to 1.5 minutes, so I think from when I instructed it, it's been over 4 years since I left as an instructor. At this point now, we'd be at the upspeed, or approaching the upspeed, and we're still doing 250. So, in my opinion, it's a little bit too slippy, and I'll also demonstrate why I think it's too slippy when we get into the descent later into Newquay. So we're now 1 minute 45 since we closed the thrust lever. We're just past 250 knots. And we're approaching the upspeed. Again, if you're an SFI here, I can't actually remember the timings from I instructed it. But just from being sat in this aircraft for 11 years and slowing down, 250 knots. The rate at which it's decelerating is sort of the same as it would be in level change, doing a shallow descent, but instead we're level here, maintaining 70. So look, we're now 2 minutes 10 seconds, not quite at the upspeed yet. It will get better for sure, absolutely B9 bot 1. Still hand flying, maintaining 70, but look at the attitude is perfect to maintain 70, that's very well modelled by PMDG. And we're approaching the upspeed. Now get ready to stop the timer. So in the PMDG, from VMO to the upspeed, level flight, oops, descending there, is about 2 minutes and 35 seconds. I think that's about 1 minute 45 seconds too long. It should be a lot longer. Anyway, that's demonstrating doing the type rating. We do general handling at the upspeed, 340 knots, see how the controls differ. What we're going to do now is just sort of show you, as we accelerate back to 250 knots, some of the general handling. We'll do some steep turns on the return sector, because I don't want to be general handling on this entire flight. But yeah, the trim is good. The inputs I'm making are similar to the real aircraft. I think it's more difficult in a desktop sim to fly. There we are, getting back in trim. In reality, you'd be trimming a lot more. It'd be a lot heavier. But yeah, just to show you some inputs here, I'm going to make some full inputs, which are sort of getting done during the type rating. So if I go full right, roll rate's pretty good. That's pretty spot on. you know, if I was being hypercritical, maybe in the real aircraft it's a little bit more snappier. The rudder could do with being a bit more effective. So if I go full left rudder, there's the secondary effect of the roll. In reality, in the level D sim, it snaps around far quicker. There's right. There's the secondary effect. It's very slow. This is full rudder, by the way. In reality, you'd have to be doing this to counteract that. So it's probably about as half as effective as it should be. But there's definitely secondary effects from the yaw there. So yeah, overall, I mean, general handling there, I give it 8 out of 10. You know, in comparison to the real thing. You've got to remember these are a desktop simulated aircraft. Don't forget before you put the autopilot on. Flight directors on. Roll mode, pitch mode, auto throttle in, and there we go. Yeah, I'd give it 8 out of 10 in comparison to the real thing. How does it compare to the ZIBO? The ZIBO, I think, handles better. That's because it's had 5 or 6 years of input from several 737 pilots. Certainly when I was an instructor, I was getting all the information from the level D sim from the background regards to all the inputs. The aircraft in X-Plane simply do handle better. It's just the way the sim's made, and I don't know much about it, but blade element theory and well-designed aircraft in that sim handle in a better way, and that's just my honest opinion. Right, so we're going to go up to our cruise level now, 240. Automation's back in, Command A, and that's set out at event, and we'll set 240 there, and that's set once, twice, check the cruise page, 3 times, looking good. Avish, the rudder in the ZIBO is way stronger than this. That's because it's way stronger than the real aircraft. It's been modelled to sort of replicate how it should be. I mean, let me just turn the volume down here because we'll pop outside because I want to show you the vertical stabiliser and the rudder. There we go, I'll just pop outside. If you actually look at the size of this flight control, it's absolutely huge. So you imagine if you've got a full input like this, you know, how quickly that would roll. In reality, there's a system on the aircraft which decreases the amount of rudder which is deflected anyway. But the roll, just from the level D sim, I've yanked in the rudder and seen what happens, and the aircraft snaps around far quicker than this. But it's overall very, very good. And remember, we're comparing what is a entertainment product essentially in a desktop simulator to a real aircraft. So yeah, it is very impressive. I have to admit, it's very, very good. Right, there's 107 for 240. Let's do the pre-cruise checks. Fuel 4 pumps. We've got 4 on board. Lights we can pop off. AP verifiers off. Pressurization 4.5. There it should be. That's climbing. The rest is all set. Belts off. Recool. There we are. Checks complete. On our way, guys. How's the rudder affected without the yaw damper on? It shouldn't make much difference. The yaw damper will balance out any effects from turbulence and excessive rudder input, but yeah, I really wouldn't know without. I've never turned it off and tried it, but I wouldn't want to turn it off. Amelia, PMDG never improves handling after release, though. They'll dig in the hills and claim it's accurate. Same for the slippery descent. That was the same in P3D. It is slippy. It's just too slippy. And I'll demonstrate that in the descent. Because in level change with idle thrust, the expected rate of descents we're descending half of what's expected in the real aircraft, and I didn't really notice it in the 600 and the 700, but when I jumped into this earlier and I was flying around doing some sort of test flying, I was just thinking, hell, hold on, you know, 250 knots clean, I should be doing about 1700 feet per minute. Yeah, this was only doing 1000, so yeah, it is too slippy, but again, I'm just being critical. Bass Central, when you say level D sim, what sim do they actually use for flight training? I'm guessing it's a private one, correct? So my operator, they own their own simulators. They also, when it's very busy, they'll lease some from CAE. But they're the real deal. We're talking full motion, level D sim, on its motion systems. You know, 9-10 million if you want to buy one brand new. Alex Vanderpass, 5 months, just 3 months, or 5 months, remember, I'm not so sure, but oh my, thanks for making me a ZIBO addict. You're most welcome, Alex. That is the quintessential 737 for X-Plane 11. But yeah, pitch power, all this here, spot on. Very, very nice. Can Flight Simulator fan land a Level D simulator, says Yui Pang Chan. Good question. I'd have a lot of confidence and faith in you being sat in the aircraft and utilising the automation to a point close to the runway, and I think you'd have a good attempt at making the landing. The fact of the matter is, when you're in the real thing, it feels very different to looking at a flat monitor. And utilising a mouse, I always mention that the first thing that you'd have a problem with is that you wouldn't be knowing how to move the seat forward to reach any of the controls. So yes, you could have a good attempt for sure. I could certainly believe that a lot of you watching could at least get it set up for an automatic landing, but if you had any crosswind of any sort over 10 knots, I think you'd struggle quite a lot to maintain centerline and land, let's say, safely. Hi, 2 tons. Now that's the PMDG 738 is out. Do you plan to make a comprehensive PMDG ZIBO comparison video non-stream? Yes, 2 tons. I do. I said I'd do that with the 700 on release, but I have been waiting for the 800, and we're going to look at sort of a 15-minute video looking at different things. So immersion, handling, systems, overall, pros and cons of both. I think you're all very much familiar with what I think of the PMDG products. My opinion at this stage, as it was at the end of the 700 inaugural stream and the 600 is, they're both excellent products. I think there's a lot of work that could be done. I think a lot of it is ported from Prepared. The same bugs. I've never used Prepared, but I had the FSX variant, and the same little issues, with regards to being slippy, with regards to maintaining altitude. They're still there, but they've certainly improved things, even since release. The depiction of the magenta line on certain approaches has improved. They did an LNAV update. I think they're making a VNAV update as well, so yes, they are improving from what I understand. But thanks to your continued support, 2 tons. Appreciate it, buddy. Melly, does the ZIBO feel more realistic in general? In the handling department, yes, it does. Optimus, are there any failure modes that are more common during climb and cruise than during any other part of the flight? Thinking back the last 11, 12 years. No, really, there isn't. It's more likely to happen during taxi out, when you're reconfiguring the aeroplane. So, putting the packs on, things like that, and then starting the engines, extending the flaps. When you're basically reconfiguring parts of the aircraft, that's when, if any, faults do appear. But the 737 is incredibly reliable. It's a very solid plane. In the time I've flown it, I've had very, very few technical problems. Very few. Maze, is there anything in the PMDG that you think is better than the ZIBO? Well, thank you for your support first year as a member. Yeah, I think the system seems quite good, and they've definitely, for example, the FMC, I think, has more going on, certainly more functionality, and I think sat in here, I think the sounds are a bit better. I think looking around visually, it feels like I'm more like in the real thing. So yeah, I think there's certainly pros to this over the ZIBO. Is the flight model better in the Level B than Explain? To be fair, Explain is really good. Put it this way, the channel now is about 5.5 years old, and when I started making tutorials, I used the PMDG 737 in NGX because that was the best 737 available. Some members of the flight sim community told me to try out the ZIBO Mod 737. This was way before it is what it is today, where it's pretty much all modelled now. And I was so impressed by the ZIBO Mod 737 in X-Plane 11 that I instantly switched simulators. I went straight from Microsoft Flight Simulator FSX to X-Plane. I was blown away by how good it handled, and this was 3.5, 4 years ago. So yeah, that's just the fact. Thanks, subscriber there, Chris Panos. Welcome aboard, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Hayden J. Robbins. James, just finished my first flight in the 738. Love the plane, but holy cow, it's so hard to slow down. Yeah, guys, it is simply too slippy. I'll demonstrate it in the descent here, and I know, because I've been sat in this seat for 12 years, what it should feel like, and from instructing in the sim. And yeah, there's areas, it's just a little bit too difficult to slow down. it is hard to slow down in real life, but this is too slippy. It's too slippy in the PMDG. Welcome aboard there, Hand Tuck HD. Hope you're doing well, buddy. And thanks for subscribing. Chris Panos, are you rated on the max? Yes, I have a max edition on my type rating. My operator does have the max, and I've not flown it yet. I hope to do by the end of the year. I'll let you know on my Instagram. You can follow me at Flight Deck to Sim. Andy, I remember that the first ZIBO video out of Liverpool persuaded me to switch to X-Plane. Yes, Andy, Liverpool to Glasgow. I remember recording that. that was some time ago. That's had 150,000 views now. Right, anyway, we best start setting up for this approach into Newquay. Let's get rid of the charts here. We're going to be doing a procedural approach followed by an ILS to a touch and go to a visual circuit. If you want to know what I'm doing in this stream, make sure you look at the video description below. I'll be time stamping this after the stream so you can play back and have a look at what's going on. Let's head over to runway 30. Select this. Actually, no, go to Newquay here. Open chart list. There we go. We'll select the arrivals. That's what we're going to be doing. From Exmoor direct to Newquay, but prior to getting to Newquay, we're going to fly a DME arc. Here it is. So we'll select that here. Taxi charts, we'll grab that too. Excellent. So, we'll start setting up for the approach. Let's go down here, go into the operational flight plan. It's not actually much point checking the fuel burn, guys, because we were messing around at flight level 70. We will have burnt more fuel, but it seems to be pretty close to the real thing. I was testing it earlier. We be flying across the land, man, for esports. What's the date? I think across the pond in, isn't that September as well? I've made a note of a date of something there. Right, anyway, let's go to the descent page here, get some wins in. So descent, be nice to have the new FMC as well. I only have the old OG one here, climb cruise descent. We will have VNAV on ours. 250 below 100. Being hypercritical again when you put the level in here. We're not going up 310 today. The execute prompt comes in. That doesn't happen in the real aircraft. It only comes execute when you put the winds in. Again, I'm just being very critical. Differences from the real aircraft. It doesn't require execution. This, though, does require execution. 255 at 25. And 10,274 at 16. Again, oops. It defaults to 18,000 feet, I think we're in America. The transition level in Newquay, ILS 30 is 3,000 feet, not 18,000. Well, that's 40, but altitude is 3,000. So that's in QNH in Newquay. Let me just grab the latest METAR. It is 1021. Wind's picked up, but it is down the runway. Fixed rings. We're going to have runway 30, 10, and 4. Bear with me, because I'm just going to have a look at the chart quickly, because I need to put a reference point for the Abeam runway. So I'm going to do 302 minus 90. Okay, dog barking outside. So we're going to put 212. I'll explain what this radial is here later on, because we're going to be doing a visual circuit. There we are. Let's have a look at the descent. So the star has us going directly from Exmoor to the NDB. So that's what we'll do initially. Newquay NDB is 347. So let's go down here. Three, 4, 7. That's active. And that's it really. ATC inbound to Newquay from London may route direct towards the aerodrome to avoid any commercial traffic. It's recommended that a call is made 10 minutes before ETA. That's it. Just a straight line, guys, from Exmoor to the NDB. However, what we're going to do is fly this DME arc. Now, I don't know why it could be a Navigraph database issue. You can't select this DME arc. The only approaches they have available transition-wise are the procedural approaches at Newquay 1, Newquay 2, which are these teardrop turned procedures. I can't actually select this in any way. However, you can build something manually, and it actually works really well in the PMDG. They seem to have it accurately modelled. Let's go here. So what we're going to do, we're going to be routing, as I mentioned, Exmoor, look, direct to the airfield, but when we get to 14.5 DME off India November Whiskey Quebec here, we're going to make a left turn and intercept the arc. And what you can do, you can build this in manually. So if I go to the fix page, page 2, if I go India November Whiskey Kilo, 110.5 in Newquay. This radial I actually looked prior to the stream. It's actually not charted anywhere. It's 056 at 14.5. And you can see it's all depicted here really nicely. They've done a good job here, PMDG. So you can see what we're going to do. Hold on, I need to modify the routing slightly. So we're going to go direct from Exmoor to November Quebec Yankee. We'll update this later, but you can see, look, there's that green dashed line I put in, and the routing, it's pretty spot on. And then this is the point at which we're going to intercept the arc, which is this waypoint here. So what we're going to do is go to November Quebec Yankee. We'll type in the radial, which is 056 / 14.5. Going to do that after Exmoor, so we'll put that there. And look, I've made that waypoint, Newquay 01. And then we'll get rid of that November Quebec Yankee and go centre fix. We haven't finished yet, so firstly, all I've done here, you see this waypoint there? I've made it and put it in the FMC. So that's how we make the FMS there. And then what I'm going to do is make a few waypoints. It's not going to be a smooth curved turn. It'll be sort of like 15-degree turns, but it will represent the arc. Firstly, let's put in November Quebec Yankee again. We're going to make a waypoint about here. So the radial was 056. What I'm going to do is make a radial of about 070. And we'll have that at 12 miles, which is the arc. Put that there. And there you go. This is on the arc now. So I'll execute this and get rid of that second fix ring here. And we're making this arc here at 12 miles now. So you have to do this in real life sometimes if there's database coding issues. So November Quebec Yankee 02, let's do one. We've done one at the 070 radial, let's do one at the 090 radial. /12. Oops, what did I do there? There we go. Newquay 3. I'll do one more and I'll look at whoever that was. November Quebec Yankee. We'll do this one. That was at 090, wasn't it? Let's do one here. 278. So what's the reciprocal of 278? It is 098 /12. And then one more here. 291. So the reciprocal of 291. Minus 180, 111, so we're going to go Newquay 111 /12. And what I've just done, I have manually built an arc onto the centre fix. Execute. There you go. That's how you manually build arcs in the 737. And PMDG's functionality of the FMC, very, very nice. Really quite impressive. So that's done. We'll talk about the approach shortly. 20 miles till top descent. Thanks for subscribing there. Rogrino FPS, hope you're doing well. Warrybot, thanks for 20 months. Hey Sam, hope you're well. Very well, thank you very much. Hope you're doing well. Thank you very much for your continued support. I'm Atam. Shouldn't the arc be off the ILS station, not the NDB? Possibly, but the distance is negligible. In reality, I don't think you can set the ILS as a distance. Or a fixed page, you just can in desktop sims. But yeah, it is based off the ILS. Where's the station for that? Yeah, we're talking, it's probably about 0.3, 0.4 miles out, but you should use that. It's unusual to be based off a DME off an ILS. It's usually based off a beacon or a VOR on the field. But obviously there isn't one, so you'd use the RMI to turn 10, twist 10, and then DME off the ILS. We'll compare it, we'll see how close it is, but yeah, you're technically right. So we built the arc. 3,500 or above, 278 radial, which was, I believe, the Newquay 04 point. We'll put 2,500 feet or above. You can see it's nicely decelerating. It's really good to see. And then we're going to intercept the ILS. We're going to have the frequencies 110.5. That's active box 1. And active box 2. 302 is the final approach course. 302. 302. Let's have a look at the minimums. So, Cat 1 ILS, full approach lies 550 metres, 585 is the minimums. Perfect, and I've got to preset the QNH as well. Is this the Airbus channel? No Airbus is here. I've never streamed Airbus or confessed my love for Airbus. QNH is 1021 in Newquay. That's another thing I've noticed with the PMDG. It seems to slow down prior to top of descent to your descent speed, which I've not seen it do in the real aircraft. There's reset MCP altitude. That's because we're 5 miles from top of descent. It's correctly modelled. So what we'll do, we'll step down to 80, top of descent in chat, and we'll talk a little bit about what we're going to do with this approach. Let me turn this lo-fi music off. So we're going to fly the ARC as mentioned, but we're going to go straight into the visual circuit. So how do we fly visual circuits in the 737? We do a normal approach, we don't arm the auto brake, we don't arm the speed brake. Normal flare approach, landing and flare. As soon as we've touched down, it's going to be quite tricky single pilot in a desktop simulator, but I need to retract the flaps to 15. We'll set about 70% N1 so the aircraft doesn't slow down. We'll quickly trim nose up because it's likely we'll have trimmed back quite a way. And then we'll rotate at VREF, positive rate of climb gear up, 400 feet. We're not going to have any roll mode, it's going to turn the flight directors off, but we'll initiate a left turn down. We're going to do a left-hand turn. And we will then select flap 5, and we fly the visual circuit flap 5 in the 737. And then when we're downwind, we'll have a look here for you. Going to make a left turn, fly downwind. We're going to climb to 2,500 feet and maintain the flap 5 speed. And when we're downwind and abeam the landing runway, which is, if you remember rightly, I made that green dashed line here. Once we're there, we're going to start a timer. We're going to fly outbound downwind for 35 seconds. After 35 seconds, we'll select gear down flap 15. And after about 50 seconds, we'll select flap 25. And then we'll initiate a turn on base leg and start a descent of about 500 feet per minute. We'll then try and judge our height in relation to the runway. Again, quite tricky in a desktop simulator. And then turning final, we'll select the landing flap, which will be flap 30. And then we'll fly the second approach to a landing. So I'll quickly, guys, if you are interested, find you my tutorial on the visual circuit if you are interested. It's quite an old one. It was in fact filmed in the PMDG NGX years ago. The tutorial's very old now, my goodness. 27th of October 2017. But if you are interested in learning how to fly circuits in the 737, that's my own stream I'm playing there. Here is the link for that, so there you go. Anyway, we've started our descent, performance. When they get the AFB, we'll do some accurate comparisons, but we're going to burn 200 kilos of fuel. Landing weight is going to be 60.7. We're going to use a flap 30. Remember, auto brake off for the touch and go, and no speed brake. And that's it. It's all complete. There we are. Look at the weather outside, looking good on the southwest coast of the UK today. Shadow, I kind of wanted to know if taking an educational loan of some sorts to become a pilot is logically possible and a good decision. I'm from India, if that matters. Well, it doesn't matter at all where you are from, Shadow. I don't know what opportunities are there in your country, but yes, 12 years ago I took out a loan. Situations have changed since then. Best thing is to look online, really. Right, anyway, demonstration number 1 I wanted to show you with regards to the drag model of the PMDG 737. What we're going to do, I'm going to select level change and we're going to go down at 280 knots, okay? We'll get the aircraft stabilised at 280. May I ask a question to you in chat? What do you think in the real aircraft, if you descend level change with idle thrust, we should be doing as a rate of descent? 280 knots. See what the PMDG does when it gets settled at 280. Then have a tell me what you think the aircraft should be doing as well. So here we are, 280 knots. It's getting stabilised at 280. Just give it a minute or so. We've got 5,000 feet per minute. We've got 2,200. We've got 1,600. Lots of differing opinions here. 2,100. 1,600, 1,800. There we are, I was getting it stabilised at 280 knots now. 3,000, so all pretty good guesses, okay. So it's now stabilised at around 280 knots, and what we should be doing in the real aircraft, this is actually in the FCTM, we quote it in the manuals, we should be doing around 2,300 feet per minute. Okay, that's what it would be doing in the real aircraft. And we're doing now at 280 knots here about 1,700, so we're about 500 feet short. It's not far off, but 1,700 is quite a little bit shallower, you know. With speed brake, okay, 280 knots, we should do around 3,100, 3,200. So I've extended the speed brake. Let's see what happens with speed brake. Again, let the aircraft get settled. It takes a while. As the speed creeps, it'll drop down a little bit, so the aircraft will pitch down to re-intercept 280 knots. Getting low on profile, obviously, as well, so we'll fix that there. You can actually see with speed brake, it's not too bad. It's actually bang on what I'd expect it to be, 3,100. So speed brake is absolutely fine, but just clean, a little bit too shallow. But yeah, we should be getting clean around 2,200, 2,300 feet per minute. Now you can see as I stow it, this is correct. The aircraft will accelerate slightly. The automation is obviously a little bit slow to react as it would be in the real aircraft, so it is going to pitch up a little bit more. We're now going to go back to 250 knots, and this is where it gets a little bit less accurate. So we're going to go 250. It's going to drop off the parasitic drag slightly, and let's see what rate of descent we get at 250 knots. The good guesses there. I think it won't be too difficult to fix stealing. They just had to add a little bit of drag. I think, though, when you're on VNAV, though, it seems to hold the speed nicely, so I don't know if they've got something going on in the background to make it hold its speed. But what I've noticed, if you follow the profile in level change, it seems to differ from VNAV, so it makes me think something's working in the background to make it work. I don't know. Formosa 1, what's the maximum descent rate you're able to use when in normal operation? There is actually no set limit. If you accelerate in level change with speed brake, you'll get rates of descent in excess of 5,500 feet per minute, and that is acceptable on the line. You wouldn't want it any more than that, but the automation won't really command a speed in excess of that. So let it get settled at 250 knots. Craig Stevenson, how does the loading of the aircraft affect this? If it was empty, would it descend much more slowly? Yes, if there's more mass, it'll want to descend quicker, but there isn't much difference, really. And when you put the information in the FMC, it'll take into your gross weight and adjust the... Well, no, I'm talking about VNAV here, but it's negligible, really. I've loaded it as it would be for every sector. So, same question again. Look, we're stabilised at 250 knots. The PMDG is doing around 1,200 feet per minute. Same question, what do you reckon in the real aircraft level change idle thrust would be doing? And just to show you, look, we're completely at idle. Can't even raise it up actually, so it's in arm. We're doing 1,200, 1,300 feet per minute. What would the real aircraft be doing? And Newquay is very nice. It is a beautiful part of the world. Dagmar said 800, the other way. $1,700, 2.5, 1,800, 1,800. Yeah, you're looking for around 1,800 feet per minute here. That's again straight from the FCTM. Guidance in the type rating as well. The PMDG, we're getting around 1,100, 1,200. This proves, as we saw earlier with the VMO exercise, it's too slippy. What also it proves is, well, actually, to be fair, we're going slower. But what I found is if you're on profile and go to level change, it does deviate off the speed there. But yeah, it's only doing 1,200. The real aircraft at this gross weight, you're doing 1,700, 1,800 feet per minute. So again, it's just a little bit too slippy. And again, if we go from 250 knots, we just need some distance here. So what I'm going to do is about 1 mile to lose 10 knots. So what we're going to go is do 250 to 210, and that should take about 4 miles. So there's 25 miles, 210, and this should take about 4 miles. So we should be at 210 knots at 21 miles. Let's see how long it takes. You had to type 1800. I believe you. It's actually not going to be too far off by the looks of it. But in level change, it does sort of a target rate of descent a little more than this. It's leveled off, which is cheating. It's usually around 3... Well, actually, you know what? I'm being critical here. It's actually pretty spot on. So look, 21 miles. We should be doing about 210. It's not going to be too far off. So we're doing about 20 knots too much there. So you can see, look, we need another 2 miles to get to that speed. It should take 4. It's taking about 5, 5.5. Again, it's critical. It's just showing it's a little bit, not far off. It's not, I was saying earlier, I thought it was twice as slippy. I wouldn't say it's twice as slippy. I'd say it's 1.5 times as slippy as the real aircraft. Let's do 250 knots with speed brake and get back on the profile. But yeah, that's just to demonstrate, in comparison to the real aircraft, it's a little bit too slippy. About 1.5 times too slippy. That's what I do. Highly critical of me, but I'm just comparing to the real thing. Again, with the 700 and 600, I didn't really pay much attention to that, but when I got my notes back out from when I was an instructor and I was actually having a play with VMO and MMO, that's when I noticed it was quite slippy. So this is quite normal, 250 knots level change with speed brake. The aircraft will pitch down like this. The automation behaviour is very accurate, very, very good. So back on profile, we'll select VNAV. That's going to continue to decelerate to 250. We'll stow the speed brake, back on path. We'll do the post-cruise checks now. So 4 pumps, lights, and angular bank, 25 degrees. Pressurization is set. Seatbelt should be on. I'll imagine the cabin is secure. Recall. There we are, check's complete. Hi Steve, what's the actual descent rate when touching the runway? Brilliant channel, by the way, thank you. Firstly, thank you very much for your kind words, Mr. Worrell. Actual descent rate, you know, typically we want to get it between 100 and 400 feet per minute. I've landed less than that. I've landed definitely more than that as well. So anything less than 700-800 isn't a problem. It's built like a brick house, the 737-800, very strong, can take a lot of punishment, as most commercial jets can. Cool, so here we are on VNAV path. Speed's a little less. Real aircraft can be like this as well. We're in arm, so I think I need to, yeah, I can't add thrust manually. So if I engage speed, yeah, we have a, this has a slightly different VNAV logic to ours. We have something called common VNAV now, so this would actually revert to FMC speed at this point, but it stays in arm. Right, what we'll do, we'll have a little look at the chart, and we'll descend down to 3,500 feet. Set QNH. 1021. Passing 8,600 for 3,500 feet. Standby altimeter is set. That's lovely, Sam F1. What do you guys think of the PMDG 737? You know, I think it's really good. Short of brilliant, and if you want to enjoy a 737 in Microsoft Flight Simulator, absolutely a must. Hi Matt Hams, I think if you go back to the 700 you'll find the same. I remember finding the 700 slippier than the ZIBO. Well, that should be the other way round. Yeah, I can't really feel much difference between any of the variants at all. Apart from a more pronounced deadband in this, which is the same. I've flown the 700. There is deadband with the 700. You have to increase back pressure, but a little bit more so in the 800. This is fabulous. Thank you, Becca, and welcome on board James Gill and Plasm Mix. Hope you're doing well, guys. And here's this manually built arc. We've got the DME distance. We'll see how close it is to 12 miles whilst we go around. Looking good. Avish, was it floating in the test sector? Yes. It's dynamically, the sim is a little, how would I describe it? Wishy-washy. just in pitch and there's no inertia in the flare and things like this. Really. I don't know what this is. I see a button called TCSR. I have no idea what that is. That's not an option on ours, so I don't know if that's something that's on other 7.3s. I know there's a lot of differences in VNAV, which has been pointed out to me with this and my operators. Product is great, price not so great. Yeah, I mean, I think everyone's of the opinion it was a bit cheeky. I have all 3 variants because obviously all of you wanted to see me fly them. If I was a consumer, now looking at all 3, if you want the most popular one, the 800, I'd get it on its own. If you want to just experience PMDG 737, get the 600 because it's half the price. I don't understand why the 700 is twice as much. I know you get the additional variants with the BBJ and the cargo, but the 600 has the exact same systems. It's just about 4 or 5 meters shorter. TCSR time compression. Is that a thing for real? Oh, for the sim? No, it's just fucking in real life. Maybe 7.3s have an option to time travel. Right. Anyway, here's that 14.5 DME. Well, I've already passed that point. Here's my 12-mile arc point, so you can see it's slightly within 12. There we go. So far, so good. 250 knots. We've lost our decel point, though. It should be commanding 206 knots. We've just passed it, I think, and there you can see the aircraft slowing down. So yes, overall path is quite good. What do you think of the sounds? Can you really hear the raw sounds in real life? Not at high speed, sort of below 180 knots. If you had your headphones off, you'd hear the engines a little more. But the airflow is so loud in this aircraft. Yes, Ram, I agree. For each variant, the price is too high. Yeah, they should be similarly priced, but I mean, I'm just looking at this objectively from regards to the aircraft. We all have our opinions on the pricing. I think we all share the same opinion on that. I think the price individually for the PMDG, the $35 is a steal. But what was this? This one was $70. I think that's a good price for this, but not for each variant. I think you should pay $70 and get all 3. But that's my opinion. Anyway, looking good on base leg. You can see because I didn't use the I used the NDB and not the DME. I'm about 0.5 off the correct arc, but it's accurate enough. See, I'm just cutting inside slightly. But looking good. VNAV's done a nice job with the deceleration. We'll select flap 1 now. I'll open the speed window. And we've got FMC speed staying in VNAV path. That's good. To use an ANR headset in the 738 on the flight deck quiet enough that ANR isn't necessary. Yeah, I have a Bose A20. You have to have noise reduction headset, otherwise you're going to get a headache. It's so loud. I don't know how many decibels it is in the 738, but a lot. Many. Turn 10, twist 10. Exactly, Dealey, but in LNAV. Right, there's flap 1. We're going to go flap 5. Remember, we're going to fly a visual circuit. I'll get established on final. And then I'll disconnect everything, turn off the flight directors. I'll turn on yoke cam. Do not judge me. This will be difficult. 727 people watching. Thank you very much for tuning in. I'm just about to fly the approach into Newquay into a touch and go visual circuit to a full stop landing. Thank you very much. That's another airplane we need to fly at 727. Thank you very much, Andrew B, for the $7.
Have fun flying in your office.
Thank you.
The 737 to 800. Sorry I can't watch the whole stream, I am at work.
Well, thank you very much, Andrew B, for your $7. That was very generous of you, and that's no problem at all. It'll be available after the stream to watch. Hope you have a good day at work, and thank you for your donation. Very kind of you. Right, I've just gone VS, but we have leveled off at 3.5. We could step down to 2.5. And we'll go to vertical speed. We'll just do about... So it should be armed, and I should be... Why is it I might have selected it too soon. There we are. Correct sensing arming approach. Pitch power VS at the moment is pretty good. So localizer capture, glide slope capture, runway heading 302. We're going into the visual circuit. We're going to climb to 2,500 feet. Looking good. How's the sounds, guys? I'll just turn it up a little bit in the sim now. But automation behaviour here, localizer, glide slope capture, very nice. Now, we're talking about the drag profile. Once you get flaps extended, the pitch power seems to be much better. So I think with flaps extended, the drag model's pretty good. The pitch and power, certainly with the landing flap,
Minimums.
spot on. Pitch power was perfect. Welcome Vlogu as a member. Dave, thanks for the 26 months. Good evening. Joined a bit late because I was playing Red Dead Redemption 2. How is 73800 behaving so far? Very well, thank you very much, Dave. Thanks for the continued support. Hope you're enjoying Red Dead. I have finished that game. No plot spoilers in chat, please. Great game there. Snobbly kneecap. I will get them out shortly. Welcome aboard, Jacob, Joel. Hope you're all doing well. Right, I think you guys want to see some action. So let's disconnect the auto throttle. Disconnect the autopilot. I did that by trimming accidentally. And yeah, pitch power should have a... To be fair, usually idle thrust is enough for flat 5 speed, and it's holding that really nicely, which is pretty good. There's an outer marker. Okay. I think I accidentally re-engaged the autopilot, so there we are, flight directors. There's 5 miles, we're going to go gear down, flat 15. Match speed, landing checklist. This is hard in a desktop sim, so start switches, continuous, recall check, speed brake we do not arm for a touch and go. Landing gear down 3 green, auto brake is set to off for the touch and go, holding on flap, so speed needs to be below 175 knots for flat 30, which it is. We'll now select flat 30. Match speed, just had a couple of knots there. Flaps, we've got 30 green light, lights are on, checks complete, imagine we're clear to land. Or cleared for touch and go. Seems good here, pitch power 55, 57, attitude is pretty good. Should be just above the horizon around 1 degree. I'll pop off the flight directors now. Flight directors are off.
1,000.
Checked. So remember, we're going to touch and go straight to flat 15 and add about 70% when the flaps are at 15. We'll set about 90% and then rotate at VREF into the circuit. So a little bit low on the glide, so we're just going to do about 500 feet per minute here. Add a bit of thrust to maintain our approach speed. Back on profile, let's reset our target attitude about 1 degree. Take a little bit of thrust off. Very, very nice. The inputs are good. The pitch power is spot on. Spot on. So with flaps out, the drag model is perfect. There we are. Tad high, 3 white, so just increase that rate of descent no more than 1,000. No more than 1,000. Wait for those puppies to come back in. Keep sending. Checked. There we are. Back on profile. Keep the runway in the same point. That's checked. This is going to be tricky. Continue.
100.
Checked. A little bit of a crosswind.
50, 40, 30.
Check.
20,
Close.
10.
It's pretty good. Just a bit floaty. Centre line. Centre line. Touchdown. Right, there we are. Flaps to 15. About 70%. Trim. There's the cancel. Oh, that's spot on. Set takeoff thrust. Rotate at VREF. And we're airborne. It's just like the real thing. That's really good. Pause the radar climb, gears up. Very, very good. Yeah, very nice. 400 feet, flap 5. Turning downwind. So level off, take 10% of your rate of climb, so 3,000 feet. At 300 feet to go, we'll level off. There's that stupid speed trim system though, continuously going off. 1 to go. Stop trimming. Right, levelling off. Target attitude 5 degrees, about 55% N1. Oh, can't teach it. Ooh, don't descend. There we are, after takeoff checklist. So let's just get it trimmed out here. Again, trim needs to be more effective. It's taking ages to trim. This is me trimming now. Still out of trim, still out of trim, still out of trim. The nose would be in the stratosphere if I trimmed this long. I have to take off checklist. Keep turning downwind. Gears off. We're going to go auto brake 3 for the next approach. Holding the flat 5 speed 2,500. Stop trimming. It's really annoying. They need to disable speed trim because it makes no input, it just makes audio. Or if it is making input, it's not very effective. Stop it. Right, downwind. So we're going to wait until we're abeam the runway, and that's good actually. As I roll wings level, the nose did come up a little bit there, as it should. So we're downwind now. We're going to wait until we're abeam the runway. Just get back down to 2,500. Pitch power is very good. I'm giving this 9 out of 10 right now. Very, very good. And this is, I mean, 9 out of 10 compared to the real thing. Timing, or abeam. Still not in trim. I've been trimming nose down a lot. If it was not for the dodgy speed trim, higher score. Right, so we're going to wait for 35 seconds. Continuing downwind. And this is it's very tricky. Your head would be on a swivel, looking out the window, looking straight ahead. So it's done by 2 people, so it's a little bit harder. I'll arm the speed brake now. There we go. So there's 35 seconds. Gear down. Flap 15. Match speeds. Star switch is continuous. Recall check. Speed brake. Imagine it's check the recall. Arm green light. Landing gear down 3 green. About 70% now. And there's waiting for 50 seconds. There's 50 seconds. Flap 25. No flap 25 bug though. That'll be off scheduled descent. I forgot to set that to 2000. And oops, needs to turn base. Needs to leave the thrust about the same, and then do about 500 feet per minute. This is where it gets a bit tricky in a desktop sim. So I cannot see the runway. Try and get a bit of a base leg here. Try rate of descent. Oh yeah, a little bit too much there. So when you're on base leg here, roll wings level and try to get a bit of an impression of how high you are. That'll be off scheduled descent again, I hope so. Where's the runway? Okay, it's looking good, it's in the right position. Quite hard to see the pappy, so we'll just keep descending at 500. And then just before we turn final, we'll select the landing flap, which will be flap 30. Let's turn final now, flap 30. Match speeds. Oh, look at the glide slope, look at the glide slope. Can't teach it. Just turning a little bit ambitiously there. Oh, I've levelled off. Just watch your thrust there. I've turned a little bit too sharp. Get back speed back above VREF. Come on. About 1,000 feet per minute. So flaps. Oh god, no, I've gone 40. My bad. I should be at 30. That's because I don't have a flap lever. Flap 30. I thought I had a bit too much thrust on. There we are. I've overshot the centre line slightly, but flaps we got 30 green light. Target 57. Attitude 1 degree. Lights are on. Check is complete. Cleared to land. Pretty happy with how that went. Sorry, I have no capacity for chat right now. But that circuit was very nicely handled in the mod, in the PMDG. It was very, very good. The pitch power is spot on. The inputs I'm making are very good. The way it's handling, even the thrust pitch couple seems to be a little better in this configuration than it was clean. Very impressed. The fact that I can jump in this from the real thing and fly it like I would the real thing, and it does a good job, it just says it all really. There we are, checked, a little bit low, but again, there's a pappy glide slope discrepancy with a lot of default airports in Microsoft Flight Sim, so just looking at the pappies, continue, keep descending. Oh, someone's shed there, I didn't realise. A little bit high on speed.
50, 40, 30, 20,
check,
10.
close. Oh, it's going to be fun. Thanks for joining. Oh, yeah, it's just a bit, yeah, that's a little bit squibbly. Right, speed brakes up, reversers idle. Yeah, it's just, landing physics are just, they're okay, they're okay. 100. 80 knots, manual braking. 60 knots, Adam, thanks for the butter. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Newquay in a PMDG 737. Very impressed. And I hope you enjoyed it. Something slightly different. That's why I'm offline today, because we were doing a little bit of general handling. And we'll go all the way off here to the end of runway 12. make a right turn, and we'll park on the Alpha apron. So flaps can come up. I remember I didn't want to use the replay tool because we're going to do the return sector, and I didn't know... jerky. I didn't know how it would behave with the aircraft.
Minimums. Approaching minimums.
So flaps coming up. We'll just do a little bit of a clean up here, guys. Transponder to out off. Brakes off. 2100's fine. We'll set this to 100. Trim. That's where it should be. Be around 8 units. Yeah, it's very good. Takes ages to trim though. 4 units set. These can come off. Actually, they can stay on.
50,
Lights coming off.
40, 30.
Thank
20,
you very much
10.
to whoever that is. These can pop off as well. Probes can come off. I'm on the parallel taxi. Thank you very much, Tom. Why on earth would you build a shed on the run to the runway? 45 baht would surely cover the cost of rebuild of that thing. Thank you very much for your donation. Very much appreciate it. Cheers. Thanks for the 2 months membership as well, Maze. You prefer the 7.2 or the 732 for classic flying? Ooh, both the Fly JSIM ones. The 732 I like because I'm a 7.3 driver, but they need to fix the flight control inputs on that aircraft. They're too delayed. Whereas the Fly JSIM 7.2, yeah, I think it's more fun. It's quite hard to say really. They're both great add-ons, if I'm honest. Right, let's taxi on in. It's just the default airport, guys. We'll I don't know where we'll park actually. We'll just keep going on the parallel taxi. Oh, actually, you know what? Let's park here. Exiting could be interesting. I might have to do a little mini pushback, but you can see there's a little bit of understeer. Hear the AP booting
50,
up.
40, 30.
Thank you very much, Dealey,
20,
for your donation.
10.
Can't taxi today though. Awful. Thank you.
Prob not enough to buy a pint these days.
Oh, thank you.
But just wanted to say thanks for the amazing real-world information and for enabling such a great community.
Oh, thank you very much, Dealey. Appreciate the $7.38. That's very appreciated. Glad you're enjoying your time as a member as well, and glad you're still enjoying all the content I'm making as well. Thank you very much for the dollars there. I'm sure I'll get a couple pints of that depending on which bar I go to. Awesome. So APU's available. We'll pop that on the bus. We've got 2 blues. Pop these lights off as well. 1 red for the parking brake. We can now shut off the engines. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Newquay at 15:45 Zulu. Nice visual circuit down there. Nice first test sector. Very impressed indeed by the PMDG 7.3. Let's reset the clock for the next sector. Transit flow, so we'll open the isolation valve.
Minimums.
Pop off the anti-collision lights.
Approaching minimums.
Remove the seatbelt sign. Voice recorder up here can come on as well. We'll get the ground power connected so we can shut off the APU, save a bit of fuel. So FS actions, ground services, let's set the chocks. GPU cart, oh I think it was already on there, wasn't it? Request ground power, connecting. We'll request the fuel truck for fuel for the next sector that's arriving. And we'll get the front steps attached as well. There we are, stairs, request the stairs, so the passengers can get off. Ground power's available. There we are, APU can come off as well. There we are. Excellent, you can see the fuel truck arriving and the steps, and then we will do the return sector to Leeds. I'll have a 10-minute break before then, and get everything set up in the background there. $7.38 for the 738 was avish, it's very kind of Dealey there. Steve, the shed is where they leave the lawnmower. Unbelievable. Finn, thanks for 38 months to member, hope you're doing well. Do you get oversteer as well in the 7.3? Happy to catch a stream live. No oversteer. There's a good video on YouTube of a guy skidding on ice in, I think, an Airbus or something, but it will understeer if you turn too quickly and it's very wet or contaminated. Tiny little nose wheels with not a huge amount of grip, so understeering yes, oversteering definitely not. There we are. Alright guys, well I hope you enjoyed it so far. If you're enjoying the stream, don't forget to smash the thumbs up button. I'm going to go and have a quick intermission. I'll put you in the Be Right Back screen, and when I get back we'll do the return sector, we'll do some more general handling, some steep turns, and we're going to test it on an NDB approach back into Leeds. I'll see you all in about 10 minutes, just before 6 o'clock local time in the UK. Thank you very much guys, I'll see you all shortly. Thanks a lot for that intermission, guys. Had a little break and well, I didn't really have to do so much. I haven't touched the aircraft at all. It's in the exact state as it was when I left it. I have acquired Jack, though. He is below me. Do you want to... I'm going to blackmail him with treats to get him to come up on the camera. Do you want a treat? Come here, then. Up, up. Ah! Here, look. No! Look how gentle he is when he takes it. Oh, good boy. He's got some more. He's usually a bit camera shy. Come on, then. Up. Oh, straight up onto the yoke. See if I can get him to look behind. There he is, look. Oh, good boy. He's got a big one now. Go on then, on your bed. Good boy. Oh, he's actually going downstairs now. So that's my Labrador, if you're unaware. My faithful best friend who's around me most of the time there. Paul, is it me or the quality has dropped on my content or the stream? I hope not the first. Here we are anyway. In Newquay, we're going to do the return sector now to Leeds Bradford. Now, I don't know if any of you are having issues with live weather. I haven't done anything. It's still on live. I did quickly flick to one of the preset settings, but all the clouds have slowly disappeared. I did this on my one of my test sectors, and it should be scattered clouds here. I don't know if it's a Microsoft Flight Sim thing. I know people have been reporting issues with live weather. The temperature and the QNH seems to be correct, but the clouds have just slowly disappeared, which is a shame. But it'd be quite nice to have live weather if we went to Leeds, because I think no, actually it's not too bad there, scattered clouds. So we'll have to see what's going on. Thanks for subscribing, Patrick and Jin. I hope you're doing well, guys. Thank you very much for the support. So Jim's doing the walk around, and we're going to have 180 passengers again. We're going to do the quick setup on the return sector. We had 2 left from the previous sector. Here is OFP number 2, so I think it's about the same, in fact. Well, a little less. We could take 5,100 kilos, so 5-1. There we are, that's on board, and payload, we're going to take 180 passengers still there, already all on board, so happy with that. Let's now set the MFRA for departure, which is going to be 1340. That's coming up here now. No, that's QNH. 1340. Or 1330, that will do. And everything is all set. So let's now load up the FMC. So FMC has been selected. Here's the operational flight plan. So we're going to be routing direct to Exmoor. There's no SIDS here in Newquay. Firstly, init ref ident. There we are. POS init. So we're in Echo Golf Hotel Kilo. Route to Leeds Echo Golf November Mike. I've just realised I forgot to switch fly live around, so let me just switch that over for the return sector. Alpaca 02, we'll just call this one. There we are, should have all reset for you. Alpaca 02. Departing runway 30, and no SID. So when there's no SID, you just simply go to the route page and then put the first waypoint here, which is going to be Exmoor. Make sure you use heading select for departure. So there's Exmoor. It's going to be November 864 to Wrexham. And then direct to Barton. Then from... Oh, there's Jack behind me. I thought it was someone at the door. There's Barton. Then direct to Pole. And then from Pole, we'll route direct to the NDB for runway 32. So we're going to fly the NDB 32. I think it will be LBA 01. Let me just have a little look at the chart back at Leeds for the NDB. We need an outbound track of 165. So just go to our legs page. NDB 165, that's the correct procedural approach you want. We'll go to activate, execute, performance. 0 fuel weight, same as before, 57.8. Alternates East Midlands Airport, 2.3 tonnes needed. Cost index is 30. Cruising on the way back a little higher than on the way down. It's flight level 290. 290 is in. Top of climb wind is 265 at 26. And we'll go to the average wind, which is 258 at 23. Interestingly, it seems to have been that straightaway Exmoor. It should only generate winds for the first waypoint after top of climb. Not sure why it's done that. We'll put that in there. Transition altitude in Exmoor, Newquay is 3,000 feet. N1 limit. I have no performance data, so we'll go full 24k. Take off. Flat 5. CG is in. Trim 5.94 units. Oops, a little bit too much. And the speeds are 35, 36, 45. I guess all of you in chat, because I'm the same, we've been used to the V speeds of the 600 and 700, which are comparatively much lower, so much higher speeds in the 800 there. So that's all set, and let's do the overhead panel scan. So that's all looking good. 4 pumps on still, looking good. We've refueled, so seatbelt sign can come on. 4 doors open, and we'll update our cruise level 290. Elevation in Leeds is 682 feet, so we'll put 700 here. That's looking fine. We're going to go straight up to our cruise level 290. There's no SID here. Runway QDM, heading and courses are set. Water brake to RTO, reset the fuel flow. Takeoff page for myself, trim set, and the radio tuning panel is as we like it. So SIDs. There's no SID here. If you select SID, look, you see there's no SID charts for Newquay. So how do commercial jet aircraft depart? So what you do, you go to a noise abatement page if there's a page like that, or the AD section to see if there's an omnidirectional departure. What they have catered here for departures off runway 30 for aircraft greater than 5,700 kilos is climb straight ahead until above 2,000 feet, or crossing the coast and then turn on track. So keep flying to 2,000 feet. Once we're at 2,000 feet, you simply ask to the pilot monitoring, can we route direct to Exmoor? He'll update it in the FMC, gauge LNAV, and then that's it. Off you go. That's all you need to do. So that's it. Taxi routing. I'm not going to push back. I might go over the grass just to save a bit of time. But yeah, we're going to go all the way on the parallel taxiway Alpha to Alpha 4 to take off runway 30. Right, let's get the APU started, and we'll get everything else disconnected. So menu, FS actions, ground services. So we'll just wait until the APU's started, and then we'll go from there. Fuel truck will get disconnected when we remove the chocks as well. Operational flight plans open. I'm so bad at that. That's because I can't see it on my screen, unlike with Avitab. I don't know it's there all the time, so sorry guys. Can't see it. I can't even remember what I was showing you. Was it the SID? Oh god. Was other professional streamers available? Oh dear. Taxi Alpha runway 30. So sorry guys. There we go. That part there. Runway 30. Greater than 5.7 tons, 2,000 feet, or across the coast before turning on track. That's what we're going to do. Sorry about that. Excellent. Right, APU's all booted up. Oops. What's happened to my drone cam? Get that reset. Oh, there's a 737. Right, APU can pop on the bus. And release the ground power. In fact, we can just do that and it removes everything. Fuel truck, stairs, closes the door. Superb. So imagine the check's complete. And packs can come off now. APU bleeders on. Anti-collision light can come on. Transponder to out off there. Starting engine number 2. Takeoff page. N2. Only just joined, got to walk the dog. What's your opinion so far? Pretty good, Jamlin. Pretty good. It's easy to get distracted with an unfamiliar aircraft. Oil pressure N1. Each sector you check the oil quantity, but I made sure the aircraft was fully serviceable prior to the stream. I have it so it uses consumables each sector. Oh, that's cool, Steve, that they've got the nav database updated. I think it's prettier than the Airbus. So 56%. Starter cutout. Monitoring 2, 2463. 2 stable. Let's see if it can do an isolated pack start. So in the summer when it's very hot, we'll close the isolation valve, put the right pack in auto. So the right pack is providing conditioned air from bleed 2, and we can now start engine number 1. Jamming, any niggles so far? Some niggles. Handlings are overall pretty good. Pitch power especially, but very slippy. N2, N1, oil pressure. Nice bass, I love that. I do think the sounds are better here in the mod. I always thought the 7.3 looked like a fish. See you later, Javelin. So, starter cut out, monitoring 1. And 1 stable for taxi flow. Flaps to... Let's make sure I did that enough times. Yeah, flap 5, flight controls, full forward, full back, left and right. Here comes the rudders, full right and full left. Then we can push the recall, blank the lower DU, and then we'd read the before taxi checklist. Which I imagine it's complete now, just to save a bit of time. I'm going to do, well, I'll try and stay off the grass, but I'll do a tight right turn onto the taxiway and go from there. I would imagine it was a remote. It's a remote stand there. So, parking brake released. We'll just make sure we've got flap 5. Can be sometimes if you spam the button, it can not always get the correct flap setting there. So there's the config. So that engine spool up time very, very fast. When you're turning like this, you want to make sure you have nose thrust on the inboard engine, otherwise that's actually going to act against you. So about 35% idle. Then once you get round the corner, look at that, well off the grass, you can then take a little bit of thrust off the outboard engine and then increase thrust on the inboard. But yeah, the tight turns are pretty good. It does the tight turn quite accurately. It's just it's either all turn or no turn. You can't really do smooth turns. It's just a bit all or nothing. But the tight turn full, actually no, actually it should do it a little bit tighter. That's full left. If you're full left on the tiller, it would really swing around like this. It's close. You'd be quite surprised on the turning circle of the 738. Dennis, just joined stream. First impressions compared to the 700, worth the $70 price tag. Standalone, yes, I think it is worth $70. If you want all the variants, I don't think it's... You know, they can charge whatever they want, of course, but I don't think you pay $70 per variant of the 7.3. It's questionable. They did it, but I've spent well over $100, but I wouldn't do anything else for you guys. Anyway, burnouts of the 738. Absolutely. Steve M, yeah, so sometimes I've noticed that. So when it's very bright outside, or you're looking down here, it increases the brightness. So look at that. So it means it can be a little bit more difficult to see. It's like it's sort of, I don't know if it's simulating your eyes adjusting. Not so sure. Yeah. Anyway, we were commenting about live weather, guys. I don't know why, but my clouds just disappear after about an hour in the sim, so I don't have any. Let's actually have a look here. If we go to weather. Meta, there we are, Newquay, scattered to 2,200, so more than half of that sky should be filled with clouds at 2,200 feet. We have 0 clouds, so I don't know if anyone else has been suffering with the same issue. I have since I last used the sim. I switched servers because I had no clouds at all earlier. I switched to the northwest server, North Europe West, or no, from North to West Europe, and that seemed to have fixed it, but they've all gone again. I tried that, Iffian. I'll try it again. If I just go quickly to, I don't know, overcast. There you go. I love the lighting though when you go overcast. That's probably, this is what it should look like. This is Newquay right now. But live weather, no clouds at all. Yeah, I agree with regards to lighting there. So this feels like it's a little bit uphill. I've got 35% and we're holding 15 knots, 16 knots now. Yeah, so I've had this issue for, well, since I started the sim this morning. I'm tempted to leave it in overcast. But yeah, my live weather is kaput. Right, let's do the before takeoff checklists. Config we checked, flaps we have 5 green lights, stab trim set for departure, that's 6 units set, takeoff briefing, PAX auto, bleeds on, V-speeds are set, 35, 36, 45 on the MCP. The departure is climb runway heading to 2,000 feet, right turn direct Exmoor, climbing all the way up to flight level 290. We'll treat this as NADP2, any problems will climb straight ahead to 4,000 feet, which I believe is the MSA. Highest MSA. I'm just checking now on the Newquay approach chart. Oh no, we can go to 3,000 feet in this direction. So that's it. Reviewed. We'll imagine the cabin is secure. Checks are complete. ECAM memo, no blue. No Airbus talk here. But yes, I might be tempted to just turn off live weather for the approach into Leeds. I think it'd be quite good fun. Just go for something a little bit more sporty, basically typical Leeds Bradford. And we'll imagine we've got our takeoff clearance as well. I always do this in the sim.
50,
Flight director's on.
40, 30,
And of course,
20,
got my taxi lights on.
10.
Professionals are available. Thank you very much, Noah, for the $10. Very kind of you, sir. Thank you.
Cap Bros, I just turned my FAA dispatcher license.
Very good.
Thanks for being a source of motivation for me in my aviation journey.
Well, thank you very much for your donation there, Noah. Brozef, I think I went with there. Really appreciate it. Glad you got your dispatcher license. And you've been watching the channel for a while, so well done to you. I hope you have many safe aircraft dispatched for the foreseeable future. I wish you could dispatch me one day, so thank you very much. Well, no, don't kill me. But dispatch one of my aircraft one day. Thank you very much, buddy. Very, very kind. That's very kind as well. My goodness,
30,
Uncle
20,
Cahill, thank you very
10.
much for the $50 donation. That's really generous of you. Thank you.
Thank you for your efforts and learning. You made my experience wonderful with 737.
Oh, well, thank you very much. It's a very nice comment as well, Uncle. I'm glad, Uncle. I've got to go call you Uncle. Thanks, Uncle, for the $50. Very, very generous of you. Glad that the streams, tutorials, and the efforts from my half of my side have improved your 737 experience for your respective desktop simulator. So that's very, very kind of you. Thank you so much indeed. Right, anyway, we'll imagine we've got our takeoff clearance. Lights can come on. LNAV. Oh no, remember we want a heading select, and look, it hasn't accepted that. So that's correct. Very good. So we're going to heading select, auto throttle. And the rest is set. Transponder to TARA. Thank you very much, Uncle. Indeed, very generous of you. So, release the parking brake. Taxi onto the runway. So MCP is set. We've got the transponder set to TARA. Strobe lights are on. Landing lights are on. We've been cleared for takeoff. Let me just double check the surface wind here. Shame it's not very cloudy as it should be. But it's 31013, so wind's pretty much straight down the runway. Looks like a farm building. Yeah, that's Jim's house, Lauren. That's where Jim lives. And he has a stroll to work from our Newquay base. Thanks for subscribing as well, Jeeb and Will Jenny. Welcome aboard the channel. Toga's in chat, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go back to Leeds Bradford. But turn yoke cam on. So about 40%. Now they're quite slow to increase. Now stabilised, set takeoff thrust. Oh, the auto throttle just keeps disconnecting for me, I don't know why. Auto throttle, I'll just push tow again. Set takeoff thrust. There we are. Checked. Hand off the thrust levers, rotate. A little bit of a fast rotation from me there. In fact, very fast. Didn't seem to be much as a dead band there. Should be a little bit more. In the real aircraft, you really have to increase back pressure at 10-11 degrees to get through that. The gears coming up. Heading select. There's top of the amber bar, so we'll bug up. That white bar. Flaps 1. There's N1 for climb. There's 2,000 feet. Flaps. Oops, a little bit early selecting flaps up. You meant to wait until the 1 bug, but I just wanted to get X more in. Execute. LNAV. To trim a lot. So flaps up, no lights, set standard. VNAV, look at that. Oh, well, looking a bit melty over there, but still. There's the airport. Love that view. I always crank my head round if I'm turning left after departure. It's quite hard to hand fly like that. Oh, not bad though. There's 250 knots. Passing 3-5, flight level 290 after takeoff checklist. So again, I'm dotting these flight directives accurately in pitch, but it's just chasing, the speed's going up a little bit too high there. Let me just get the autopilot in so I can monitor that.
Minimums. Approaching
Takeoff checklist, so it's doing 260 for now. Oops, I had the start switches in flight. Remember, they're only meant to be continuous. Air conditioning and pressurization 2.0. And climbing. And set. Reset crew, and standard set, passing 5-5, flight level 290 after takeoff checks complete. And now it's nicely settled at 250 knots. On our way. Bye, Newquay. Wonderful. And this rate of climb's pretty good. For our gross weight, that's pretty accurate. Hello Rory, the stream is particularly interesting. Thank you very much, buddy. Glad you're listening in and enjoying it. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Thanks for the lovely message you sent on Discord a couple of weeks ago. It's very kind of you. Anyway, direct to Exmoor. Becca67, sorry I missed that. Welcome aboard as a member, buddy. Glad you're enjoying the content. You get invited to our members-only Discord. I hope you enjoy using the custom emojis in chat. Thank you very much for the support. Yeah, Van Hecke's the speed trim system that they have modelled, I think it does make a slight trim input, but in reality, you really feel it on the control column when the speed trim system kicks in. After 2 seconds, you can feel the force. It's like, oh, and you usually trim against it. Your starters are not off continuous. They weren't originally, you're right. They were on flight, which was an error on my part. Passing 104, flight level 290. Let's do the pre-cruise checks. Fuel 4 pumps. On. Lights. Logos off. Verify the APU is off. Pressurization 4.2 on the diff. And set. Race passengers. Recall. Checks complete. I don't want a face cam. I have an image of him in my mind. I don't want ruined. Like a smaller Ron Weasley. I've read all those books. Quite like Harry Potter when I was a kid. With Guardium Leviosa, Lumos. I can name all the books. Ask me a Harry Potter question, I could probably answer it. But I'm not Ginger. Nothing wrong with that, of course. VTOL F-18, it is climbing fast, but this is exactly as it would do at this gross weight with full climb thrust. Very good. do actually have some good camera views by default here. Ah, there we go. You can hear the electric hydraulic pumps. Or an alpaca. Really looks like Jack. A cloudy action. Hi, did you fly the BBJ2 performance of 27k engines? I've never flown the business jet, and if you went full thrust on one of those, yeah, you'll have great performance. Same as an empty 7.3. Petrus, the wing flex looks a bit jittery. Yes, I'm not such a fan of the wing flex simulation. It is sort of jump up and down, especially when the wind changes or there's some turbulence. In these conditions, it's perfectly still, and even when it is turbulent, it does move. There's quite a lot of flexibility, and it does move quite a lot, but not this sort of small, jittery amount. But again, that's just being hypercritical. Just wish I had some clouds. Poll, guys, for the approach to Leeds, do you want me to make some inclement weather, or should we leave live weather on, which unfortunately for my Microsoft Flight Sim is broken. It doesn't generate any clouds, or the clouds just seem to disappear. Yeah, it's all on. Nearest Metar from this place. Some farm strips. I don't think they've got Metars generated there. Fortunately, yeah, no clouds. We had clouds at the start, though.
Minimums.
Cheers, Eddie.
Approaching
12
minimums.
months. Just finished a controlled crashing. Complete backbreaker at the Seychelles due to gust 24 knots and shear. Would love to see a real pro attempt it. Oh my goodness, I'd probably do the same, Eddie. Thank you very much for your 12 months membership. Wonder what the weather's like there. Pretty windy by the looks of it. Thank you indeed for the continued support. Yeah, a lot of you saying inclement, of course. It's Leeds. High winds as it's Leeds. Okay. Let's see what I can do. Maybe if I turn off live weather. Oh, yeah, it's definitely turned it off. If we go rain. Ooh, yes. Right, how do I change the wind? Ground level. I have no idea what the QNH is in the sim now. Right, I'm going to leave it on rain. And I guess this is universal now for the whole sim. Wind, ground. I'm going to be landing on runway 32. So let's have 230, which is the prevailing wind direction for that part of the world anyway. Where's 230 going to be? About there. Speed 230. Zzzt. Let's do. Oh, the sim does not like this. 86 knots is done up here. Oh, it doesn't like that, guys. Why is it giving me 86 here? Oh, gusts per minute. I feel like this might be giving myself some quite unrealistic weather with the gust things. Well, so it's gone for 240, 84 knot gusts. That's not so good. 0 to 84. Oh, guys, I'm not. What I might do? I'll leave it on rain and cloud base, 81% overcast, tops. We'll put it down. I'm just going to have a look at what the cloud base, the minimums are for the NDB. I need 1100, so we'll come out at minimums. Let's do it about 1530. I'll leave it at this. So at least it'll be raining down there, which is pretty cool. Lightning, no. I've got no weather. A little bit of wind shear, 84 knots. Wind shear, nope. Dennis agreed. I don't think that's possible. It's a shame I don't have live weather on. Why? I need to do some research as to what's wrong with my live weather. But this will be fun to descend into. Just going to give us a bit of a shortcut. Let's go direct to night on. I'll just save a little bit of time. Looks great. Hey, it's nice weather here in Leeds today. I know, Ben. But I have no clouds being generated from Microsoft Flight Sim Live Weather. Bingo fuel plus wind chill, what could go wrong? Probably need anti-ice, yes, when we get a bit lower. Well, we're just in VMC now, so we're all okay. That looks great. Super good. Look at that. Oh, it looks great. Feel like going on holiday. Minutes from disaster. The Captain Hours the intro so far. Sorry I'm late. No problem. But yeah, it's going well so far. That's excellent. That is excellent. And this is the pros of this sim. You enjoy the scenery, enjoy the weather, the visuals. Very nice. We're approaching our cleared flight level. Well, what we could do, we'll try and do a step climb. We can probably go a lot higher than this, see how it works. There's 290. So step climb. We go up to 39. There should be no issue with that. So on the cruise page, there we are. Just gone into cruise. Where is my stepped prompt? Should be a prompt saying step. Here. Have they modelled step climbs? There should be an option here saying step. I mean, you can manually put in 390. And there should be a thing that says saved fuel, whatnot, but let's do it. Execute, VNav out, that's fine, because I've not updated the cruise level. VNav. 39. Wouldn't be perhaps the most efficient thing to go up to this speed. Why is it not accepting that? Check out target 390. It's spat it out for some reason. Don't know why. Execute. Descent. It's broken. Funny enough, this sort of bug comes into ZIBO mod a lot. So it's gone to descent. It's activated descent somehow. Cruise out, climb, 390. We have more than enough distance. Execute. Activated econ descent. So yeah, I've broken it. And we've got the VNav path here. Let me just try and update 290 again. Try and get it out of active descent. Yeah, it's forced into descent somehow. Check out target. I broke it. Probably confused it playing with the winds. Maybe. Shouldn't have done. But it's in descent. And I've lost all my points there, so I've lost my top descent point. Yeah, they've broken it. So cruise to... Let's try and step down to 27. Execute. Active econ descent. No, it's broken. It's a bit of a bug here. So changing your cruise level in the FMC, I don't know what I've done, but this is a bug of some sorts. 390 needed flight level 390. No, you don't need that, Paul. Not on the 7.3, not on the real one. I mean, I'll try it if it's a PMDG thing, but you don't need to type in FL. Sounds like an Airbusism. No, it's still, regardless, it's not working anyway. Turn on VNav, then try to put 390 on cruise. It's not accepting VNav though. It just says check out target. It's let me just update 27. This is, oh, hold on. This is at 3.9, but still it shouldn't cause any problems. It's just the FMC updating. Let me try 290. Still going straight to descent. No, that's bugged. It's broken. Anyway, so I'm not sure what's going to happen now. It thinks we're in the FMC thinks we're in the descent phase. It's maintaining the descent speed. It's showing perfectly on profile. When in doubt, flight level change. Yeah. Alright, well, we'll crack on as it is. We'll start getting set up for the NDB approach into Leeds Bradford. So I'll get the courses set, 326. You know, it's a complicated aircraft. The ZIBO mod has had more than its fair share of bugs and problems in development. And we can expect them with the PMDG as well. So yeah, I don't know why it's gone to the descent phase. I've done everything as I would in the real aircraft. 290, you can simply go to the cruise page, enter that in and execute, and then it'll get rid of the VNAV profile, it'll update it, give you a new top of descent, but as soon as I execute it, it just spits it out, and then it's blank on the cruise. I mean, I'll try climb, but that again should do nothing. 310. Execute. No, it's just not having it. It's broken. Shame. But we'll try and crack on and see what happens. Anyway, 326 the NDB. Let me get the Leeds charts for you guys. So that, you know, it's a if anyone wants to report it to the forums, when you update the cruise level in the FMC, it goes into descent, or it does however I entered it. So, Leeds Bradford. Star arrivals. Approach will be the NDB for runway 32. Well, I end up having to do this at vertical speed if VNAV's throwing a wobbly, but we'll see how we get on. And nice short runway, it'll be a flat 40 landing in Leeds for sure. In fact, let me just try live weather again. Yeah, it's just no cloud. Oh, I've got clouds! Ah! Okay. I think I'll just stick with live weather because I prefer it. And that's because that's nothing wrong with PMDG. It's because I've just updated to live weather. I'd rather do live weather. I like flying it in the stream. Okay. So let's get everything set up. It's still bugged out with regards to this cruise level thing. Because look, it's showing me on profile even though I'm 200 feet below. And now it's, as I climb, it's showing me... Eh? Oh, updated. Not sure what's going on with the VNAV path, but it's in descent, and I can't update the cruise there. Welcome aboard there, Adesta. Hope you're doing well. Right, 250 below 10,000. Forecasting transition level in Leeds Bradford's by ATC, but the altitude is 5,000. Put 60 as the level. There we are. Let's get the winds in. So 200 winds in. 100 winds going in. That is 247 and 23. 246 at 13. And QNH in Leeds Bradford, so we're going back to live weather, is 1018. Runway 32. 10, 4. Oops. Yeah, we just got to keep an eye on it because I have no idea when it's going to start descending because it's in descent phase now. If I go to the descent page, it's showing me on profile, which is a bit unusual. Yeah. ND thinks you have too much data. That's actually true to the real aircraft. If you fill it up with too much information, increase the scale, select waypoints, there you go. It's God knows what's powering it. It's less powerful than your pocket computer or calculator, but yeah, it doesn't like overload of information, so you get this excess data message come up in the real aircraft as well. PFT, thanks guys. Oh my goodness me. Right, fixed rings in. Let's have a look at this approach then. So we're going to be flying in via Wrexham. So what we're going to do is go via Wrexham, which is here, Barton. Then to Pole Hill, 12-1. From Pole Hill direct to Leeds Bradford, NDB. That is the arrival there. Very simple. Airways all the way in via Pole Hill to the NDB. 402.5 is the NDB, which I'll tune now. There we are, 402.5. We can select ADF. ADF, Jim, you can have ADF as well. So once we get to the NDB, what we're going to do is go straight outbound on the procedure. It's a little bit of a steep turn. In reality, to go straight outbound, hands ops requires to be within 30 degrees, but as long as you are above the MSA, you can sort of self-position. So what we're going to do is self-position on that outbound track of 165. That's for Cat C aircraft. You'll have different tracks for Cat A and Cat B. Where are they on the JEPI chart? Can't see it, but Cat C is 165, for Cat A and B it is 158, so it's a little bit a steeper turn because you're going slower. I can see that on my operator's chart, but not here. Anyway, we're going to go direct to the NDB from the west, outbound 165, max 210 knots, that's fine, 210 knots outbound, 165, going to bring the speed back to 180. Now I want to do a little bit of an experiment with the PMDG to see how it handles with level flight. 180 knots. And I'm actually going to level off during this turn. I want to be at 3,000 feet hard. In reality, you'd want to do a CDA. I want to sort of experiment with the PMDG, so I'm going to give it 3,000 here hard. Remember, we wouldn't level off in reality, but I just want to see how it manages this turn. We want to be level 3,000 all the way until 7.2. It's a bit of a test. And then we'll be on the procedure. Now, once we're past the final approach fix, which is the 7.2 mile point, that is the Delta 146 Golf. We'll descend a 3-degree path. So you see here we have 3 degrees is the descent angle. For some reason the PMDG's got 2.93. It's within limits, 0.1 is the tolerance, so we'll leave that in. And we're going to go to our minimums, which is 1,050 feet. Now this is an MDA, a minimum descent altitude. We must not go below this height if we're not visual. So at my operator we add 40 feet to this minimums to ensure that in the event of a missed approach we don't actually bust this height. So we will be setting 1,090 feet as our minimums. Oh, now what's it doing? Yeah, it's bugged. A little problem here. VNAV is showing me getting lower on profile despite the fact I'm level and getting closer to Leeds. It should be going, if anything, the other direction, but we are still 130 miles away, so I'll put my top of descent fixturing in, which is going to be /87. That way we know roughly where top of descent is, so it's coming up, and now it's showing me 2,000 feet below profile. I have no idea what it's doing. It will bust the 3,000. I believe so. We'll keep an eye on it. But it's a good test. Hopefully it's something they can address at a later date. It didn't do so good earlier. It didn't do so good. I'm better English. It didn't do so well. My mum was watching this. She'd kill me. 1,090 as discussed, and the QNH is 1018. 1018. So 4,000, we're going to level off at 3,000, see how it deals with that base turn level, intercept the path, 7.2 DME, we'll do height check, we'll tune the DME for this approach as well, which is 1109. We will get ILS information, we're going to ignore it because we're flying an NDB, and it is offset as well, so the localizer will show a deviation, but that is normal. This is, I think, is offset by a few degrees. So 110.9. The final approach track in Leeds is 318 degrees, and this is 326. So we're offset by 7 degrees here on this approach. Procedure restricted to max 210. So there we are, all done. Performance then, 300 kilos to burn, landing weight 60.8, flap 40, order brake to 3. It is dry, second detent reverse to maintain a decent brake temperature. There we are, there's VNAV, so now it's sort of going down, it's caught up with itself, so let's step down to 130, we'll go level change, top of descent, ladies and gentlemen, it's come back to life. So yeah, it did not like me updating the cruise level in the FMC, it locked into VNAV locked into descent, the FMC went into a descent logic, and you could not leave it, so hopefully that's something they can fix at a later date. Lucas Filkins, thanks for your membership. Welcome aboard, buddy. Glad you're enjoying the content. You get invited to our members only Discord. I hope you enjoy using your custom emojis in chat as well. Welcome to the channel. Rashid, when this happens, I go to the cruise page, insert the current flight level. That usually puts the VNAV in cruise mode. That's what it should do. What have we got now? Master caution, off schedule descent. I know why, because we updated that to 390. That's what it should do. So we're a little high on profile, level change 270. We're going to accelerate to 300 knots, and we're going to also update our target speed of 300. That should generate a newer, steeper profile. Execute. It has. That's very good. So we're going to go VNAV. The aircraft's now going to do 1,000 feet per minute until it captures the profile. It's going to add thrust to maintain 300 knots. That's very good. Dennis, Captain, do you ever have to deal with any bugs of such kind in the real aircraft? Very rarely, but sometimes VNAV can have 50, a bit of a wobbly
40,
with regards to its profile,
30,
but very rarely.
20, 10.
Welcome on board, Lucas, as well. Thanks for your donation.
Hi, Captain. Hope you are well.
Yeah, I got that. Yes, you've not only became a member, you donated. I was a little confused there. Well, thank you both for your support as a member and your donation. Very generous of you. Very well indeed. And no need to donate and become a member, but thank you very much for your generosity. I'm doing very, very well. Thank you. Jack's asleep below me, guys. In fact, I might even move yoke cam. I hope I don't show you my face doing this. I need to be very careful. Oh, hello, puppy. I didn't mean to wake you up. There we go. Yeah, he just sleeps under my... Whenever I stream, he's there for ages. Right, must not reveal face. Hold on, giving away way too much there. There you go. One day you're gonna see my big bushy beard. Anyway, look at this, 300 knots, retard arm, holding the speed nicely. Good job. Maybe nut controller. There is an option in Navigraph to show standard IFR or airline charts. Maybe that's why you only see the CAT CD outbound leg. Very interesting. I didn't consider that nut controller, but that would explain it. Where are we geographically here anyway? Liverpool, coming up to Harden probably. How do I overlay this? There we go. Do like Navigraph a lot. Not too far off. Chester, Liverpool will be on the left hand side, then we're right over the top of Manchester. Awesome. Well, the Fly Live overlay seems to be all working correctly today. I've not done anything. Beautiful. So again, VNAV, if we revert to level change, we're talking about the slippiness of the aeroplane. 300 knots, well at 280 knots in this aircraft clean, we should be doing about 2,200. We're doing 300 and it's less, it's 2,000 feet per minute, sort of shows it is too slippy. At 300 we should be doing around 2,700. So again, this is another thing I notice as well. If you go level change on profile, it generally just slowly gets away from you as well when it should be bang on. So, well, maybe I'm talking too soon. It does seem to be tracking the profile quite nicely. But yeah, 300 knots clean, 2,800 feet per minute. We're barely doing 2,200. That's what it should be doing at 280 knots. I know it's only 30 knot difference, but remember, drag increases the faster you go. So we'll go back to VNAV. No Julia's today. No, Julia's folded up somewhere in a bookshelf under a book. Lucas, how do you get to the Discord? As a member, as you signed up, go to Google, type in YouTube Discord synchronization, follow those steps, and in Discord you need to link your YouTube account, I think, in some sort of way, and it recognizes you're a member and it automatically generates an invite. Manchester on the left, and we're directly overhead Liverpool. Oh, there's Liverpool Airport.
50.
Awesome.
40. 30. 20. 10.
Julia Roberts has donated, everyone. Thank you very much, Julia.
Thank you for the surfing tour, Captain, but since we're single class, can you please have a word with the rowdy youth hostelers in my row? XXXXX.
Thank you, Julia Roberts, for the £5. That's very generous of you. Glad you had such a nice time surfing. Never been in my life, but I'll have a word with the rowdy hostelers. Unbelievable. Thank you very much, Julia Roberts, for your continued support to your channel. Love you. Seatbelt sign coming on. Whoever you are, a great sense of humour. It's very kind. Thank you. Anyway, Manchester's next on the right. There's the airport, 2 runways. There's the city. Beautiful. Yeah, I think this is a great add-on. T-Lee brings up a interesting question. Have you ever flown with a celebrity or famous person on board? I have. I once had, let me get this right, none of you would have heard of him. I need to try and find him. He was a snooker player. And I have a lot of football players as well. Oh no, Frank Lampard. I have carried Frank Lampard. I genuinely have had Frank Lampard, the football player, on. Kept himself, had a very low profile, but he was on board one of my flights once as a first officer. Now, who is a snooker player had on? He was bald and had hair on the side. There he is. Willie Fawn. I had Willie Fawn, who... oh, he's passed away. Was it him? Can't have been. Yeah, it was him. Oh, he's passed away. Willie Fawn. He was a snooker player, but he was on one of my flights. Oh, that's really sad. He's a snooker player, and he's now... well, he passed away, but I had him on one of my flights once. Oh, that's really sad. 4,000 feet we can now set. Oh, that's very sombre. Well, rest in peace, and best of wishes to your family. Not that they're watching, but there we are. Anyway, QNH will set. Imagine we've been cleared to 4,000 feet, and now we've got a little high on profile because the aircraft's leveled off. We'll bring the speed back to 250, and I'm going to use the speed brake because it does take a very long time to slow down the PMDG 737. No, I didn't invite them on the jump seat, but no, I didn't know this. It was usually the cabin crew that recognised them. So it's actually a very... technically, this is outbound here. It's very sharp. You know, you'd really need to do a 30-degree intercept. Now, you can self-position. So what I might do is go on a radar heading after Pole Hill, go outbound here, and then make a turn inbound. So it's a bit of a nicer intercept to go straight outbound. So what I could do is create a waypoint, sort of representing radar vectors. So what I could do is go 035 after Pole for a distance of... I mean, what's the track here? 17, if we did about 12
50,
miles.
40, 30.
Thank you very much,
20,
Julia.
10.
Julia Roberts, agent. Oh no.
Dear Alpaca Airways, our client is not used to traveling at the back of the plane, nor being surrounded by surfers. Please advise us of the amount of refund we can expect following your misrepresentative ticket. Regards, robertstalent.llc.
Thank you very much, Roberts Talent LLC, Julia Roberts agent. Julia Roberts obviously not very impressed with the service here, neither is the agent, and they want a refund. That is not happening, but thank you very much for your support. Thank you. Right, guys, I've made a waypoint here to be a little bit, to make it a little bit of a better track so we can go straight outbound on this procedure. That's going to update the profile by about 500 feet there, and that's just going to make it sort of within 40 degrees now, and not 70, 80. So there we are. LNAV's engaged, 250. There's the profile. VNAV, stow the speed brake. Unbelievable. Thank you very much, Julia Roberts and Julia Roberts, agents. Children. Right, why have we gone back to 276 knots? Oh, I know. I went back into VNAV and it's still in the decel point. So it will meet the target speed. That's fine. That is actually operating correct. It is correct there. the most entertaining yet informative stream ever. That's exactly what I want to hear, Dealey. That is what this content is all about. Right, seatbelt signs already on. Let's do the post-cruise checks. Fuel, 4 pumps, lights. And angular bank still set to 12, should be on 25. Pressurization is set. Seatbelts on recall. There we are, post-cruise checks complete. Ooh, flight recorder, guys. When I turn final, spam chat with flight recorder. Turn on the flight recorder. In fact, I will open it up in the background now. For first ever Microsoft Flight Sim replay today, guys. I hope it's compatible with the add-on. I've not tested it. Right, flight recorder client is opening in the background. And it's there, perfect. Looking good so far, very impressed with how it's flying it. Again, I think they have something going on here in the background. VNAV's perfectly on path. 1200 feet, and it's holding the speed. The speed will be coming back at that rate of descent with idle thrust. 250 knots, remember, clean. Welcome. We should be doing 1800 feet per minute. It's doing about 1400. Well, now it's pitching down. It was doing about 1200 earlier. And the speed is actually holding the speed, so it is too clean.
Minimums, approaching minimums.
Firstly, welcome on board there, Stabster and P-Test. Extra 22 months of flying. Cough jowl in a few weeks, so I'll know if you're the captain if we push back the door still open. No comment, P-Test, but thank you for your continued support. I need to get like a middle finger cardboard cutout. Thanks, buddy. Anyway, remember we're self-positioning now via this waypoint I made. We've told VNAV we'd like to maintain 210 knots, and time we get to the NDB. The ADF has now been identified. Lima Bravo Alpha is pointing directly to the NDB. Do nav aid idents work in the PMDG? One way to find out. I think I can hear it, but very faintly. Or am I hearing things? It's definitely not on. No. I think I'm just hearing things. That's a shame, no idents. Any plans for non-normal ops? Practicing the PMDG V1 cuts climb out engine out? Yes, I think it actually has one thing over the mod. Quite a good failure implementation system. That's all the way from their original one. Right, we can step down now to 4,000 feet. Oh, we already have 4,000 feet set, that's fine. Let's mute the music. Turn off the engines to hear it better. Unbelievable, Domino Mosina. Be careful with the recorders. Recently on replay, it just pummels this 800 into the ground, but I was using Sky Dolly and SU-10 with a new 800, so maybe incompatible at present. If I start recording, is it going to cause issues, do you think, or is that just with the replay, Steve? I don't mind if the replay doesn't work properly, I just don't want this part of the flight to be affected. You've had no issues if you're okay, cool. Anyway, there is Leeds Bradford straight ahead. That's where we started our journey today. Lovely Orbeck scenery installed. Thanks, guys. So past decel point, it's now starting to slow down. Again, yeah, the rate of deceleration at 400 feet per minute, quite slow. And we can fly the up speed at the whole procedure. We just want to make sure it levels off at 3,000 and maintains the altitude. Excellent, under control for the 800 and did a replay, it was fine. Perfect. So guys, if you have just tuned in, we're on the return sector to Leeds Bradford. We're just about to go outbound on the NDB procedure on the teardrop turn. Initial thoughts of the aircraft, it's excellent. Really, really good. Some areas surprised me, some areas clearly need some work. It feels no different to me than the 600 and 700. There probably is subtle differences. I've flown the 700 before. There isn't much difference, to be fair, between that and the 800. But yeah, so far so good. We've done this approach a few times in desktop sims. I think last time we came to Leeds was actually in Concord. It does look beautiful in this sim. That's the Wallbank scenery down there. So outbound on the procedure, smidge fast, 220, should be doing 210. Again, the real aircraft can be guilty of that as well. And now we've told it to get to 3,000 feet level at 9 DME. So it's going to pitch down now. Yeah, it's doing a good job of that. Well done. Very, very good. So we can also step down now to 3,000. And we're going to do a full NDB approach, see how the aircraft handles. Oh, did the landing rate come up earlier? I don't think... Let me just turn on the landing rate. Yeah, I didn't save a landing rate on. That's me in the background, guys, doing stuff. So landing rate, okay. And save. You should have the basic fly live landing rate on here. It's not the most accurate. It's not as accurate as the one in X-Plane. It just looks at your IVSI. So if you're on an upslope runway, it sort of gives you a bit of an accurate indication. So a little bit of a wind update there. Notice this, we're going to have a tailwind on base leg, so it can be worthwhile configuring early. I want to be doing 180 knots for this turn as well. There's the decel point, so what we're going to do now is help the aircraft out. We open the speed window, and we'll select flap 1. And remember, VNAV is going to give us 3,000 feet. I want to be doing 180 knots for this turn. Remember, we've told it to be level at 3,000. We'd usually do a CDA all the way around. VNAV will manage that, but to experiment to see if it's going to hold the altitude today, we're levelling off at 3,000 feet at the 9 mile point. We do cross-checking the distance, 9 DME on here, 6.5 looking good. I have heard of Volanta in Fjordnwerk, but go from there. Petra's not exactly slowing down. No, it is struggling. Again, you know, it's, as I've said today, it needs a bit more drag. When you get the flaps out, it does become a little draggier, but the pitch power does work as well. Scenery is gorgeous. There we are, 3,000 feet, flat 5, so the real aircraft should be rock solid on the height here. We'll see how it is during the turn. Come on, you can do it. No, it's descending. So this has been an issue for PMDG for years. Look at this. This is, for me as an add-on, I am going to be critical here. It's unacceptable. Look, 3,000 feet. What's going on? This is bad. 300 feet below. 350 feet below profile now. 400 feet, and it's, look, even VNAV is saying we're below profile. We're getting altitude alerts. That is poor. This is meant to be the best 737. Look at this. That is not good. Recorder on. Thanks, guys. Recorder is on. I'm now recording, guys. Thanks for that. But yeah, this is unacceptable. If it's meant to be the quintessential 737, that is poor. Very poor. Now, I'm not making any inputs at all. It's now going back up, but it should be rock solid 3,000 feet throughout the entire procedure. It's done this in the FSX version, does it in the prepared version, it's done it in this version. They need to fix that. Anyway, it's brought me back up to 3,000. And our descent point is the Delta 146 Golf. So we're approaching descent. We can select the minimums plus, or round it up to nearest 100 feet. So it's 1,100 feet. Verify we have VNAV path with speed window open. It's tradition. But yeah, you know, that should be put, you know, feed that back. I mean, I don't post to the forums because I have to put my real name, as you well know. I like to keep anonymous. But that is, should be doing that. Right, remember, we're not flying the ILS. Their localized deviation is like that. Remember, it's a 7-degree offset. That is completely normal. There's the final approach fix. And no flags, we're going to go flap 10. Let's see how it flies the vertical profile now. What is the missed approach? Climb straight ahead to 2,000 feet, then a right turn to 3,000 feet. That's understood. Configure a little bit early here, because I'd like to hand fly the last bit. Gear down, flap 15. Landing checklist, start switches. Continuous, recall checked. Speed brake, arm green light, landing gear down, 3 green. Auto brake is set to 3, holding flaps. Flap 30. Oh no, flap 25 initially. Got to be below 162 knots to select flap 40. It's doing the approach quite well. It's just a shame about the little level segment. Flap 40. Nick, I thought this was live. Hello. So, flaps 40 and 40 green light. Lights are on. Checks complete. Little bit of a crosswind. Offset approach here. And we just need to set the missed approach altitude. Top of the white bars coming up. So, missed approach altitude 3,000 feet is set. Looking good. Shall we do it, guys? Disconnecting the auto throttle. Disconnecting the autopilot. We want to recycle the flight directors because they will not give you guidance all the way to touchdown. So flight directors 1, 2, recycled. And looking outside now, so keep that runway in the same point. We'll start flying towards the extended centre line. So flap 40, need about 62% N1. So, tad low, I see 3 reds on the pappies. It flew the approach. Final approach VNAV very well. It just cannot maintain altitude, this add-on. When configured in turns, it just can't do it. That's going to cause problems on VATSIM. Did you fly today? I didn't, Conan. I was on early standby. 3 white, so a little bit high. Well, that's all good. Watch that rate of descent, a little bit high, no more than 1,000. That's a little bit poor flying by me. A little bit drifted downwind there, checked. Watch that rate of descent. Gets back on that extended centre line. God, it feels like there's more wind than there is. Continue. Pitch power, again, very, very good. At 0 degrees, 1 degree, flat 40, and about 62% for this gross weight. Superb. Handling's quite good as well. It's just a little more sensitive in reality. The inputs should be having more changes.
100.
Checked.
50, 40, 30.
Check.
20,
Close.
10.
Down slope here in Leeds. So just get it down, don't mess around. Don't mess around. Right. Oh, no landing cool that thing. Right, speed brake's up. Reverses, full reverse. Just make sure the speed brake is definitely out. Manual braking. 100. 80, that's going to be hot brakes. 60 cancelling reverse. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Leeds Bradford. There you are. This is an airport you do not mess around. You just get it down, and it's downslope on 3.2. It's very well modelled here by Orbex. There we are. 2 sectors done in the PMDG 737-800. And the replay I'll leave on. I've never actually used it. And then we'll vacate here on the right. You'd then wait for any landing traffic if there was any, and then you backtrack on the runway. Yeah, fairly good. Oh wait, I know what I need to do, and I haven't done it for so long. Where's my soundboard? I can't find it. No, I've lost it. Oh, I think I've deleted it as a favourite. Oh no, that's a real shame. I'll have to find my very good, very nice soundboard. Hold on. Damn it, I'll have to do that later. Right, let me taxi a little bit more accurately here, instead of messing around. Excellent. Is the real runway this slopey? Yes, it is. It's like a skating bowl, Leeds.
50, 40, 30.
Thank you very much, Tom Hates
20,
Cats, for the £1.6.
10.
He says, butterly niceness. Thank you very much for another donation. Very kind of you, sir. Hope you're doing well over in Thailand. Appreciate it, buddy. Excellent. Right. Let's taxi back to stand. Replay. We will do a replay. I'll just get back onto stand first. I don't know if I end the replay or now or what happens. The replay tool is still going. Let me press stop recording. Right, I press stop recording. Okay, I hope that'll work. We'll wait until we get onto stand first. Do I have to do anything with gear or flaps for the replay? I think I have to leave the flaps out. I was looking at all the V1 simulation streams. I think you had to re-extend the flaps. I know you have lots of questions about what I think about the aircraft. I'll give you some feedback on stand. It'll be very similar to the feedback I gave you of the 700, 600. Transponder to out off when you vacate the runway. Just do that now. Take left on November. No need to end the replay now. Oops, I've done it now. Welcome. Let's get the APU cranked up. Very, very good. We'll go to the exact stand we started the day on, guys. Stand, I think it was 8. Weather radar can come off. Comes the APU. Make sure you're doing 10 knots for these turns. It's quite hard to, yeah, it's either brakes are all or nothing. I mean, taxiing behaviour is okay. It's just the sim's a bit jerky. No, don't walk in front of the stand whilst going on to stand. Not wise. I don't have any of that fancy GSX business yet. I've heard mixed reports about that. I think you need to keep the engines on. Oh dear. I'll have a look at the feedback there. Oh, that'll do. Right. Parking brake is set. AP available on bus. Oops. There we are. 2 blues, 1 red. Engines dead. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Leeds Bradford. That's where we started the day. Stand 8. We're here again. Absolutely wonderful. No need to touch gear, but yeah, leave the flaps out. No problem with ending the replay early, though. It just means you'll need to taxi back to stand if you want. No problem. Well, in that case, for the purpose of the replay, let me extend the flaps back out. Which will be on the electric hydraulic pumps now. Why are they not extending? They are, but they are going to be slow on the electric hydraulic pumps. Anti-coal off. Rest is looking good. Well, whilst the flaps extend for the replay then, let's give you my thoughts and impressions of the PMDG 737-800. Let me turn off Fly Live there as well. Nice approach and landing. It was just a little bit dodgy on that base turn. Butter emojis. Yeah, I don't think the calculator came back on again. I have no idea why. I did turn that on for this one. Oh, I know why. I probably didn't save it. That's a shame. Right, that's done. Flaps are extending. Perfect. Awesome. So, guys, yeah, first ever stream in the PMDG 737-800. Out of 10, what would I give it? I would give it an 8.5 out of 10, as Dennis has asked for a scale. Close to 9. Would I recommend it as a purchase for $70 standalone? Yes, I think that's a good price based off what aircraft are. It'd be great if they priced it a little bit closer to the Phoenix, which obviously has the EFB and all those sort of things. I think that's probably what it's worth. It's not far off. But I'd thoroughly recommend it. If you've been waiting for the 800, I'd say get it now. Yeah, you don't need the 600 to 700. If you want to fly those variants, fair enough. The $35 for the 600, if you want the PMDG experience, is an absolute bargain. Having all the variants at those different prices, I'm not a fan of, but they could do whatever they want. It's their product. But the 800 for $70, I'd thoroughly recommend, and I have it. I think it's slightly reduced on release as well. Looking back at the 2 flights, general handling is generally very good. In reality, they're a little bit more effective, the controls, just comparing to the level D. So the inputs I'm making, if I had full left, it would probably roll twice as quick. And full right and in pitch. There was definitely a nice thrust pitch couple. My main criticism of the flight model, it's far too slippy. We did some experiments which we do during the type rating, looking at deceleration and acceleration from the upspeed to VMO and MMO, and it's about 1.5 times slippier. You saw in level change in descent, we should be getting around 1700 feet per minute clean, 1800, we're only getting around 1100. It's too slippy. Now with the flaps out, it seems to be much better. Pitch and power look spot on. So that's my main criticism with the flight model. It's otherwise very good for Microsoft Flight Simulator. Handling on takeoff and landing, again, good. I wouldn't say it's good as aircraft that handle in X-Plane 11. Again, I'm not a X-Plane super fan. I love both simulators. It's just my genuine feedback. It's just a fact. And the main issue they need to fix again, it's with the 700 and 600 is the autopilot. It's generally also very good, but it just cannot maintain altitude when configured or flying slowly. You know, for a premium aircraft, which is meant to be the best aeroplane, to lose 400 feet level height, you've got VNAV moaning at you, altitude alerts going off. You know, if you're on VATSIM, that's gonna be a problem. If that was in real life, even more a major problem. You never obviously let it deviate like that. But the autopilot in real life in outhold or when it's trying to maintain altitude is rock solid when you're flying at speeds. You know, if you're obviously at the full speed, it's not going to do a great job. But anything above the speeds that we were flying, we were configured flat 5 180. We lost 400 feet in the turn. So you know, autopilot is a bit sloppy at maintaining altitude. A little bit too slippy, or I'd say quite slippy, and just little bits which are more things in Microsoft Flight Simulator. They are the negative points. The positives, you feel like you're sat in a real 737 in the cockpit. All the switches, bells and whistles are working. The performance calculation, bang on the real performance. There was a bit of a dead band. Everything is matching the flight directors. Really, really quite impressed with that. Yeah, you know, it's fantastic. So as a replication of the 737-800, it's 8.5 out of 10 there. And I put the ZIBO mod in a similar position. It handles better dynamically, but this, for example, you've got the beauty of Microsoft Flight Simulator. I've mentioned it before. If you want the whole sim experience, look out the window and enjoy the view, enjoy the lighting. This is the sim you want. So yeah, it's completely up to you. I, like many, will continue to use both sims. What I find is when I jump back into the ZIBO mod, I've always been blown away by the PMDG and aircraft in here, but it always puts a smile on my face because the feel of the aircraft is just, it is awesome, and that is thanks to the team and feedback given by real pilots over the years to ensure that it does handle as close as it ever could in a desktop simulator. Right, that's it. Anyway, let's see. Bear with me on this, if I can get this replay to work. So what I'm going to try and do, I have used it before. That is worth pointing as well. Andy does it. It's completely free. I've never done this before, so do bear with me. What I'm going to do is jump into the cockpit for a second. I've got my flaps out. Ooh, I don't want to. Ooh, I've done a thing. Oh. Many switches. It's like one of those piano things, look. Oh. Well, it's replaying. Let me just pause the replay here for a second and see if I... Ooh! Nice! This is a first on the Flight Deck to Sim channel. It's a bit quiet. Maybe I do need to restart the engines, but maybe if I put my funky replay music on, it'll, you know, the fact that there's no music would not be a problem. Hold on. Oh yes, that's better. We've got to have that. It's disappointingly quiet, but look at this! A replay in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Oh, tyre smoke! Oh, well, that's very good. That is superb. I have to crank up Microsoft Flight Simulator as loud as possible here. Ooh, very impressed. Just the audio's just a bit broken, so maybe I need to do something like that. There's no other tower views, is there? Or flyby views. Very good. It sits on the struts nicely as well. Oh, that's not bad. Darude Sandstorm. Excellent. Can I do a wing view, maybe? It's very good. Oh, superb. You can hear. Can you hear the switches moving? It's like in time with the music. Oh, that's superb. I have to. What is going on here? What is going on? Sort of in time. I think the beats are slightly off the music. This is really funny. It's nearly in time with the music. That's what Jim does. Oh, now I've got IRS warnings. Oh dear. Right, I need to definitely have an experiment and play with this. Right, let's. Oh, have the engine started? Right, well, it's not bad. It works quite well. It works quite well. Right, let me put you all the way back here. And from... There we go. So we're going to go about there. Let's press resume replay. Plane is haunted. Just another Flight Data Sim stream. Absolutely. Right, let me put you back in the wing view. I think... Oh, yeah, that's a super... You just have to ignore the clicking. I think we'll go with that one so we can see the airport. Guys, that's the end of the live stream today. Thank you very much everyone that watched, for your continued support if you're a member as well. Really appreciate it. To everyone that donated as well, thank you for your generosity. If you enjoyed the content, don't forget to subscribe to stay up to date with the latest content, as well as I was only saying 3 minutes ago. Grab this aircraft, very good. I'd thoroughly recommend it. And I'll see you on another live stream in the not too distant future. Take care of yourselves, guys, and see you soon. Bye-bye.
Hello, sexy banana. Very good, very nice. Very good, very nice. Hello, Nicki Minaj.